Tonight on 8.5-bit, 100% gameplay. And click. Welcome, friends of all designs, to episode 274 of 8.5-bit. I'm your host, Paul, and joining tonight is my good friend, James.
Hello.
Who we are not technically a metre and a half apart.
No, don't tell the Queensland government.
Yes.
Because those fines are high.
Well, we don't need to be anymore. You're allowed... We could actually have everyone together.
Yeah. I think you still have to be socially distant in
You're
the
supposed
house,
to distance as much as possible.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
not,
this is...
not enough... Don't fucking reach over here.
we need a
Jesus.
line. We need like a...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did like a Red Letter Media that just built a barricade. I was thinking about doing it. I have a ladder here. We could try to put that between us. But yes, especially since your wife is a doctor, a respectable profession.
Also
a virtual reality game developer.
How is that even a job?
Is that?
What do I contribute to society? Nothing.
Unfortunately, I had a friend that was working on a VR project that I was very excited about. And they informed me that they've actually shelved the entire project now.
Oh.
Because they I don't think anyone wants to go to a trade show and put on a headset that someone else has worn.
No.
So they won't be able to sell it to anyone.
No, not for a while.
So we're sort of hoping that just personal ownership shoots up.
Yeah.
Because things like VR arcades and everything, which is probably more where they were aiming, they are not going to be good business for a good while. Because once things are normal, there's going to be a stigma.
Yeah.
So
and even when we say normal, until there's really some kind of vaccine,
normal could be a very long time.
Yeah.
Well, the normal that was, and it may. That's the thing. Not to get too sad down here. We always go when there is a vaccine. There is actually no guarantee of a vaccine. There could not be.
It could be.
Life could be slightly changed forever, and we just
have to not touch anymore, and
that's hard for me. Anyway, let's not just get dragged down to COVID. So yes, we're back to shooting live.
Yes.
Because I can't fucking stand doing it remotely.
I didn't really like it. I can't believe we did that for so long.
Yeah, we did that for years at the beginning. The timing is very difficult.
Yeah, I forgot that I had to deal with latency.
Yep, and then me trying to assemble it when not everyone's recording worked made me want to just jump out of the window. And we ended up with a poor product that I didn't enjoy making. So I'd rather die here on this hill.
So now we have this enjoyable
the hill that
product.
I die on. But yeah, this probably it may be, depending on what we want to do responsibly, it may actually just be a two-man show again for a while. We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see what we do. Go. Maybe we'll rotate out my chair, let someone else come in and host a guest.
Take the reins.
Yes, we can get. Who do we know that's famous? Who's the most famous person you've met?
The most famous person I've met. See, I only know game dev famous, and that's not really famous.
Come on, minor celebrity, someone you've seen.
I met Ray Martin once.
Man, I was so Ray Martin, for if anyone's not Australian, was an old shitty current affairs presenter, and I always thought he was a bit of a hack. But then I was like, he was a journalist for a long time, and David Attenborough was doing a tour, and Ray Martin was interviewing him. Yeah. I'm like, well, I'm sure he's got actual interview chops after a career of fucking worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Jesus Christ. He should have just been given cue cards. This man does not know how to host or interview. It's terrible. I was so upset. Saw Billy Corgan down Toombul before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when he was banging one of the Veronicas. I guess he just went down to the shops.
I went to school with the Veronicas.
Yeah, well, so see, Corgan's the more impressive side of that. I have also, at your house, met their brother.
Yes, yeah.
And
I got drunk in their house when I was 17.
And this last year, I threw out their light chaser that I owned. Because my parents bought it off them at a garage sale.
Oh.
Yes. For triggering lights, it's a lighting effect on stage.
Okay.
I never really used it for anything, but it was $5. The story of my life. Wow, this is a really interesting equipment you've got collected here, Paul. I know, and I've never used it, but it was cheap. But eventually I throw it away, unlike my parents who were now officially hoarders.
Yeah. But no, celebrities, not that many.
was trying to think. I was going through a celebrity list the other day who I've run into. No, yeah, Corgan. No, did not speak to. Let's not get that out.
Because like, I don't think it counts if you like go to a concert or something like that.
No. Oh well, I guess the one concert thing I did have was when I think it was Dresden Dolls, not just Amanda Palmer herself, but she started in the crowd and I didn't know, and she came up behind me and grabbed me and took the apple out of her mouth and put it in my mouth. So I've technically had Amanda Palmer spit in my mouth.
That's close enough.
That's almost like having a relationship, right?
Yeah. That's quite a fling.
Yeah. I also like afterwards go like, if I was the wrong kind of person, I could charge her with assault.
Yeah. You could also just bite an apple and just say that she
I mean, I didn't keep the apple. I think she took it back after I had my bite. She was probably fucking hungry. It's hard touring. I think at those days, I think she might still. She just crashes on fans' couches.
Yeah.
So it saves money. Don't think she really needs to save money, but she's got all those Caroline dot bucks. That's a deep dive.
Yes.
Well, not that deep.
No.
Yeah. Anyway, if my husband was Neil Gaiman, I would not bother crouching on people's couches.
No.
I mean, I'm sure she's independently fine as well. Who knows?
Maybe she likes it. Maybe that's part of the touring.
I think it is. I think it's
enjoys.
just part of the actual atmosphere. Yeah. She's always a big fan. Anyway, we're not the music podcast. We're not the celebrity podcast. We are a video game podcast. We're actually video game podcast number 49,721.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, so we're
doing all right.
Yeah. We got in there before the 50,000 hit. So we're part of the original crew. What a unique concept this is. Two white middle-aged men
talking about video games.
On the internet.
What a unique perspective.
But wait, let's get angry about something. And I put a little thing in the corner of what I was like, it'll be in.
We need more clickbait titles. I think like your random things. Everything fine. How is that going to get us clicks, Paul? How does that get us clicks?
Back in the day, our biggest podcast episode that it was ever downloaded was the top 5 most overrated video games of all time, in which case I said Deus Ex was. And we got 50 times the number of downloads.
Yeah.
I'm like, it wasn't even supposed to be clickbait, because those days we used to do a weekly top 5, just like completely bullshit countdown so Ben could
which
say
is still
Lexicross.
fun. Like, if you actually, one of the reasons we made all that content was so it was timeless. And
it's somewhat evergreen. We do mention Lexicross more often than it deserves.
Yeah, I mean, we probably ran that idea into the ground a bit.
Well, a weekly top 5 for 3 people that basically only have a small selection of games each. Let me tell you about Ecstatica 2. Actually, I probably didn't get to mention that one enough. But let me do it now. Let me tell you about Ecstatica 2. Do you like ellipses? Well, have I got more ellipses than you want to see? Anyway, a lot of things have happened in time since our last.
It's been now a month.
Something like that. We were going to do another online recording a few weeks ago, and I said, "Whoa, guys, do you want to do it at 1 a.m.?" And they said, "Paul, you're funny," and I secretly cried because it was a real suggestion. Because Xbox was going to be doing their first showcase reveal of next-gen games, and that was going to be at 1 a.m. Australia.
And what a show that was to wait for.
Yeah. So from the depression after that show, the show was never recorded. And then Sam was moving house. And now we're just doing it real, because real is better. So let's not get onto that straight away. Or maybe we should. Let's just do it. Okay, so Xbox. So this is the fastest I've ever seen a company issue a formal apology. So they hyped it for a few weeks that this is going to be official next-gen gameplay reveal.
Big gameplay
new
reveal,
games.
new gameplay.
And then we had, which we'll talk, we'll just briefly talk about it now. A week beforehand, they revealed the new Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It's Viking-based, and that was a CGI story trailer, which was very good, but nothing in-game. It said, don't worry, next week,
big
gameplay reveal is coming up. And oh, very good.
So,
and it was
in my head, I'm thinking, all right, cool. We're going to see the first 10, 15 minutes of the game.
We're going to see something that is quite indicative of the game.
They're going to be in a boat, and they're going to be attacking some other ship, and then coming to land, and that's what I'm expecting.
So this thing, they said beforehand it was only third-party games. It wasn't going to be any Microsoft official, but it was the reveal of games for the Xbox X. What the fuck is it actually called?
Series X.
Series X, Jesus.
Yeah. the naming is...
I mean, the thing, it all just becomes Xbox.
It doesn't matter. It's Xbox Game Pass.
I feel like... Yeah. Well, that's the thing. We were arguing... Well, not arguing. The next-gen console is not the Series X. It is Game Pass. Yeah. That's what they're selling, and they don't care what you play.
You buy Series X. That's great for you.
Yeah, they go like, oh, well, which one should I get? Well, just buy the one you can afford. and then play the games on Game Pass. So these games are overall impression of it that all these games were fine, but almost all of them were games that kind of already exist in some way, aren't particularly visually impressive, didn't really show any gameplay.
No. I mean, there was this odd snippet through there.
A few of them showed significant, and some people, like in some of the defense, people were saying like it wasn't gameplay. I'm like, it is actually.
Yeah, I think part of the problem was there was actually quite a bit of gameplay in there, but it wasn't like sit down and watch gameplay. It was a trailer.
It was still a trailer that was cut up
of gameplay that were put together.
But yeah, and then the whole time they're also hyping Assassin's Creed. And I found out after the fact that just before the show went on, the director of Assassin's Creed Valhalla had gone out and said, "Just warning you guys, this is just a teaser. Don't get excited."
He was trying to diffuse, but
it was too late. Ubisoft's marketing, Microsoft's marketing, everything was like, here it comes, and here it is. Here's the reveal. It's 90 seconds long with barely a frame of gameplay in it. It's in engine. They like showing that they've got some fancy tech for doing slightly transparent sails, because there were a few close-ups of that, but it told you literally nothing about the game you didn't already know. It's Viking-based, and that was it. And so
having played a shitload of Odyssey recently, the idea of like better sail dithering does actually appeal to me.
Look, there's nothing wrong with it, and it looked good, but also what it lacked was they're like, here, look at this impressive game, and us go, oh wow, and then they go, and now look at it on Series X. I go, that was the ultimate. Yeah. Oh! So there's no like, what does the Series X offer? No, because it wasn't this. People doing the presentation, that wasn't what they were gearing for.
Yeah,
they were just showing off their games that also happened to run on the Series X. So everyone left kind of disappointed and know like, what does next gen mean? And for Xbox, I think, as we say, it means Game Pass. It means
Game Pass, yeah. Because I had their little, what was it? Their Smart Play Anywhere?
Smart Delivery, call it, which is one of the worst names
Now, let's see how bad the name is, because tell me if I'm remembering this right. So it's the thing which picks the version that best suits your console or your platform that you download to.
Yeah, all it is cross-generational compatibility. Yeah. It's like you buy a game and you get it on whatever platform you're playing on. So because Smart Delivery, people were thinking, oh, is that like the system where it starts playing before it's all downloaded?
Well, that's originally what I thought. Like it's like, okay, so it's just going to start streaming it down, download a chunk, and keep playing.
And then, because no one else is going to use that term because it's their term, it's going to get... It's like, no, that term's not going to exist after a year.
No.
Partly because it won't really need to, but also because it's just not a well thought out term. Yeah. It lets them put something else in the
like
box.
Apple's got a perfectly good term for this? Universal. It's a universal app.
Universal, yeah.
Like, if you tell me, if they said, universal game, I'd be, oh, okay.
We'll play on my old
run on
iPod
everything.
Fat.
Yep.
You liar.
Doom will.
You knew I was baiting you, and you didn't take it. Anyway, so let's actually we'll go through the actual games because we don't want to just pass over them, just like yesterday's fudge. Which is still fine. It's fudge.
Yeah, I know that thing lasts a long time. It'll go a bit crystally,
solid sugar.
Crystally after a while.
Yeah,
but it's good for a bit.
Okay, so they started off with one of the games that was, I thought, quite unfairly people said wasn't gameplay and was very much gameplay. It was Bright Memory Infinite.
Was that the one with the most gameplay?
Possibly, because people were saying, oh, this is like scripted gameplay. Well, no, because you can already play a version of this game. It's been on Steam for a while. It's a single developer in China, and then there's controversy around that because obviously a single developer cannot make a very fancy looking first.
No, it's always it's pretty disingenuous when anyone says single developer. About the only one I can think of which is single developer is maybe Stardew. Like, I'm pretty sure in that case there was a lot.
I don't think Stardew wasn't single developer.
I'm pretty sure Stardew was, like, in terms of like someone that was doing all the art, all the music. Everything.
I think it originally started as like an almost crowdsourcing thing, and they were getting sued by some of the original people that were helping out and never paid.
I might have to look into that one because because Stardew I thought was the one.
Unless I'm now confusing that with something else. Fuck. Now one of us is definitely wrong.
Well, it doesn't matter.
It was me. I was wrong.
But just as a general rule, solo developer means you've outsourced a bunch to a lot of people.
All I think,
especially China, where it's going to be dirt cheap to get a lot of stuff done.
All I think solo means most of the time is that there is one singular lead that's assembling the project, and they are gathering resources from elsewhere outside, because it's to do anything of any significant size, like, Lucas Pope is a single developer, but he definitely gets help from people, and stuff like that. So in this case, there's also apparently some controversy about not all the assets are bought from asset stores. Some of them are stolen. In which case I asked, okay, which ones are stolen? Because I'm pretty sure if it's just straight up stolen, you could get it removed from Steam. And nobody answered me. Because plenty of games have been removed from Steam because of copyright violations that someone filed a claim against. So it's either so small it doesn't matter, the person doesn't care, or it's not quite what they say it is, or he got done and then he paid them. Any of those options.
I would think, yeah.
And I'm going to think that this version that's been spooked by Microsoft probably has all those assets paid for by this point. Anyway, it's a ninja first-person shooter. It's a bit bullet-stormy. It has too many post-processing effects on it, so it actually looks kind of awful after a while. But sure, is it impressive when you look at it and say single developer?
Yeah.
It's like, wow. And they added some car driving, which wasn't in the PC game. So it looked all right. Then they started showing a car racing game. And James, you were very excited because you thought...
I thought it was Burnout Paradise.
Yes.
You know why? Well, part of the reason was I saw it in the cars and they had no drivers. And I was like, oh, that's going to be Burnout Paradise. Had the same kind of color palette I wanted.
Well, Codemasters came up and I went like, what do Codemasters make? And then because it started in the city and then it went into the dirt because it is Dirt 5 and it is a very competent looking game. What do you expect? And you just how can you say anything? I mean, you could say like, I like Dirt. I'm looking forward to playing this.
More Dirt. Yeah.
Or I don't really care about Dirt and I'll pass it, but it looks very well made.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then we got the wall, the dick coming out of the wall, just leaking jism, which is for once not me exaggerating. So we got a new trailer for Scorn, which has a Kickstarter game, which has been don't think we've seen in 2 years now. It's very H.R. Geiger inspired, very body horror and lots of dicks. And instead of showing off what the gameplay currently is or the story, or they showed just a bunch of vignettes. One of them, which was a dick coming out of a wall leaking cum, and that was a bold choice.
Yeah. I think it probably had some of the least gameplay in it because I had to go
because you forgot.
I forgot what it was.
Yeah.
And I had to go look up what it was. I was like, oh, okay, now I remember that thing. It's that weird shooter.
Yeah. Well, it's not. It has a gun, so that's like your main sort of action in the game. But it's not a shooter. It's more exploration, adventure based. So there is shooting, but it's not the focus of the game. But yeah, I think it was like a bit existency where it's like you break off teeth and put them in the gun, and you shoot teeth or something like that, and bit Cronenberg, bit Geiger, a lot of dicks.
Yeah, a lot of oozing dicks.
I mean, that's really... The oozing dick is the only thing I've heard anyone talk about. And a lot of people don't even really realize it has a history.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it's a PC game. It's been around for a while. I mean, it hasn't been playable. I don't think there was a playable demo for backers. But it's just like, yeah, it's been a hiatus. It's come back. I went and checked the Kickstarter page and people were a bit angry that... Not that it's good. I didn't see anyone going that stupid level of like being upset it's coming to Xbox. Because it's still coming to PC. But there was like, you fucking haven't spoken in 2 years, and the first thing we see is at the Xbox thing. It's like, yeah, if you're a Kickstarting, you kind of have some responsibility to keep people in the loop.
Yeah, yeah.
Speaking of which, Raise the Dead, which is like this cut-out zombie, like almost Pikmin-ish, like, yeah, you're leading a pack of zombies around. I Kickstarted that, I think, before this generation, and I think I'm going to get it next generation.
Oh, yeah.
like, we've just got a publisher. I'm like, okay, great. That's interesting.
I have been pretty impressed by some of the Kickstarters that are still actually going in my list. Because there are some where it's like I gave them $10 about 5 years ago, and you know what? It's okay. Like if it's not out by now, I accept when I pitched that this could be lost money. It's all right, but some of them just keep going. Like Parasite Lost.
Is that still going?
I'm pretty sure it's still going.
There's one that I did back in the day, Moon Intern. It was it would have probably been around the Double Fine era. A little pixel-based shooter. I think it had some roguelike elements to it. It was one of those things that now is nothing in the crowd. Back then it was like a little bit of fun. And I put in a little bit extra because they put you in the game. It's like $40 or something, which was probably way too much. But they're still doing it. I'm like, guys, like it's 8 years after the fact or something.
Yeah, like I reckon Witchmarsh is still happening.
Yeah,
like
I've only had a small handful of games fail to deliver, and they were always very bit like long shots of like solo first-time developers trying something a bit interesting, and I threw them $5-10 because I wanted them to have a chance, which is what you should do. You shouldn't see a developer like that and go like, I want that $500 version.
Yeah.
That's good because unless you're just rich and you want to be very generous, like that level is a gamble. There's lots of stuff that's not a gamble. So like, yeah, but your realistic dragon-based MMO is a gamble.
Yes.
It's
I remember was it Anthem? Anthem before Anthem, which was the rhythm-based MMO.
Oh yeah,
where they had like a 200-page game design document. That's like they had about a team of about 7 or 8 people. I think it was one technical person on the team. The rest of it was musicians and designers. And they wanted to make their MMO for $250,000.
I reckon Clang is the biggest mainstream failure ever. Because that was...
Well, that was one from the start. Everyone could tell it's not going to work.
But the thing is, we say that.
Yeah.
And because we used to talk about Kickstarters every week. So I bet there is record of us saying, this concept doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because it was a fencing game, sword fighting, with motion controllers. And it was like, you can't. Like... Because unless it's a lightsaber that can pass through things, you can't do actual realistic swordplay with a motion controller because there's no such thing as resistance, and that's what fucking sword fighting is. So it's Stephen Niels, he's a sci-fi writer or something, fantasy writer. Yeah. But it was like Gabe Newell was in the Kickstarter video, and had all these celebrities backing it, and we just want $2 million or something, and they passed it easily. But I feel like everyone else was just looking back going, what the fuck is wrong with all of you? This base concept, it's like someone just said, like, well, I thought I'd start a wizard school. And when you come out, you'll be able to do real magic. It's like, but real magic doesn't exist. But I'm starting a school for it. And the people that join up are just looking at it going, like, but you forgot that magic doesn't exist.
Yep.
It's not fucking Penn and Teller. Oh, that would be good, though. Yeah. I go to their school of magic. Actually, they've got a masterclass.
Well, I heard Teller speak.
Yes.
Because if you jump onto masterclass and if you can find the ad for the Penn and Teller lessons,
I bet over the years Teller has done a heap of interviews we've just never seen.
Yeah.
Because
it was so weird. Like,
very well spoken man.
Yeah.
Anyway, continuing this stuff. Then there was a game, not called Anthem. Then we got Chorus, which not really a lot. It seemed to be some sort of third person view space flight sim. Or not sim, look actiony. But there wasn't a lot of detail to it. I thought it looked kind of cool.
Yeah, that was
a strike vector.
Yeah, and I had a bit of almost like a Knight Rider feel from it, like because I think that the ship had like a personality. So I think there's like, I don't know, like it looked fun.
And again, like
that was the one that probably stuck out the most to me.
I don't think there's a game in this list that I thought looked bad, but just nothing that makes you go like, I need to buy a new console for this. And unless it's a play date, then I'll buy one. This haven't shipped yet. Where's my play date? This is the greatest crime in the COVID. Where's my stupid indie console with 11 games on it? That's all I want. That's all I want, to play with it for half an hour and put it in a cupboard and then put it next to my Ouya. It's like put it next to the Ouya, but the Ouya wasn't designed to just be used for a little while and put away. They thought that would do something. The Playdate's just like, I can show this to someone.
Yep, I can pull out my crank based handheld.
Can't believe it doesn't power it. Anyway, enough of the Playdate. So then Vampire Bloodlines 2. The tone was a little bit weird. It was this.
Yeah, that was probably the most lackluster one for me. I think I guess the budget I know isn't super high for that game, and I think it kind of comes through. I don't know. Like it gave me like it was like watching Bethesda conversations.
Yeah.
Like the animation was really kind of marionette and.
So graphic wise, and this is I'm going to negate myself this episode when we talk later about graphics, but I can't tell good graphics anymore. It's gone.
Oh really?
I can't do it anymore. They released the screenshots for Deadly Premonition 2. I went, it looks pretty good. And then all the comments like, what the fuck is this shitty PS2 looking game? All the trees in the background, a billboard and everything. Like looking at it like, oh yeah, they are. I don't care. It looks, it looks like what they want it to look like. Even when like Shenmue 3 was coming out, everyone's like, oh man, it looks like a Dreamcast game. Like, no, it doesn't. You forgot what Dreamcast games look like. This is the same spirit, but better. And I mean,
then you looked at Dreamcast and went, actually, it's not that far from it.
No, it's better. But unfortunately, the game is incredibly shit. That's what really hurts Shenmue 3. I'm fine with how it looks graphically. It's just put together in such a painful way. Okay, let's keep going through this stuff. We'll never get to it. Call of the Sea, which was just like a walking sim. It looked nice. The Ascent, which was another one that had a lot of gameplay. It's a top-down twin stick thing. In fact, you can go and watch like a good half-hour straight playthrough if you want.
It had a very confusing intro. Like, it had like this really narrative-focused cutscene at the beginning, and then it kind of cuts to this twin stick arcade shooter. They two just didn't mesh for me. Like, I was expecting this like maybe like a third-person action narrative thing, and it's like, oh no, we're a top-down shooter. Like, okay.
I mean, but also no, because it's like a world that you explore and have conversations with people, and so because when I watch more gameplay of it, I'm like, oh, this is more going on. But then at the end, it's also just a twin stick shooter. It's it reminded me of your Ruiners, stuff like that. I mean, it looked good, but again, and they're like, oh, it's 64K. I'm like, yeah, but it looks like a game that came out on the 360, just with like that's playing it down, but there's nothing about it that grabs you as like, this is the future. It's like, no, it just looks really good.
I think because part of the problem is with next gen consoles is if you're like a small to medium team, you can't really afford to take advantage of like in terms of like production levels. You can't be Assassin's Creed.
We'll get back to this later, James.
Okay.
In fact, we're gonna then there's a new game by Blooper, or is it Blooper or Blooper? I don't know. Anyway, the team that did like Layers of Fear and they did the Blair Witch and Observer. It's another scary game, but it's got the composer from Silent Hill on it.
Oh yeah, it does. Yes.
Yeah. People were like, but we didn't see any gameplay. I'm like, that was gameplay. You walk around and you look and listen to things. That will be. Have you not played a Blooper game? Like, I quite like them because someone was asking what it was like, and it's a Blooper game, and they thought I was meaning that disparagingly. It's like, no, they just have a style, and they do it quite well, and they're sort of getting better at it as well. So, and this one's not first person; it's third person. So. Secret Nexus, which do you remember?
No.
Oh no!
Well, don't touch.
Damn it!
Either I've given it to you, you've given it to me.
It's so hard to search. This is why they say don't get together, because you just don't. No, just touch my face. Calm blue ocean. Okay. It was the game with the flower pot monsters.
Oh yeah, the weird anime thing.
Yeah. So it comes with these really cool monsters that are like all flowers and shit. The text was acting as if they were creepy, but they just look kind of fun to me.
Yeah. It's like a bouquet of roses with scary legs.
Yeah. Like the really cool design. It reminded me of something that I might have seen in like Sunset Overdrive. It was like colorful. It's like, oh, what's this going to be? And then came the young teenage anime boy to fight them. And he's got a special power because no one else can fight them until he came along. I'm like, I remember playing this game every year of my life. Yeah. It looked fine.
Yeah, I don't know if the enemy design can carry it.
Yeah, and I don't know what the hook of the combat is, because it'll have a hook. Like some people were saying, it was a bit Astral Chain, except there wasn't a power. So I was like, a partner. So I'm like, what are you basing that on? But anyway, there'll be more to be seen there. We've got an anime character-based fighting game coming out. Second Extinction. Strong memories of it, James?
No.
What if? Let me paint you a picture.
Okay.
You're playing Left 4 Dead.
Yep.
But instead of zombies, there's velociraptors.
Oh, that sounds pretty good. So Dino Crisis for Dead. I'll play that.
No, those two. No, because that would be House of the Dead mixed with Dino Crisis, and isn't that? It's Left 4 Dead.
Left for Crisis. Dino for Dead. Whatever. I actually like the idea of a
it's like the Earth has been taken over by dinosaurs.
Yeah.
You're there to kick their ass and cause another extinction, or it's based after the second extinction. I'm not sure which way we're going with it. But yeah, it's shooting a bunch of dinosaurs. Yeah. It seemed, again, fine, but just not something that you hype for a month, saying this is going to be the big reveal of your new console. Yeah. Hence, as I mentioned before, the almost immediate apology from their marketing manager.
Maybe if they sold it as if all these are on Game Pass, it was like, it's our Game Pass reveal. Like, here, look at all these things for $15 a month. But you get all of these
every month they do an inside Xbox thing where they do this sort of thing. And everyone comes out and people go, oh, that's cool. And then it's like, oh, we might have set the expectations wrong. If we had just released this as a normal inside Xbox, I'm sure it would have been fine. Yeah. And it would have been. Yeah. Because there's cool games in here.
Yeah.
Then I enjoyed Yakuza Like a Dragon. And I had at least a few comments going like, man, I wish I could play that today. Like, you can. it's been out since January, but not in English, not in English, because it's what they took away the number because it's Yakuza 7, like a dragon. It's weird because they showed a lot of the game. It's all in-game stuff, and I think it actually does look a bit better at what they were showing than what I remember on the PS4 version. But what they glossed over was that it looked like a real action-heavy game. You know what they did for the combat in Yakuza 7?
No.
It's turn-based.
Oh, what, really?
Yeah, it's like Dragon Quest inspired.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So which I'm actually fine with because I get kind of really.
I feel like I should play a Yakuza game at some point in my life. There's a lot of them, and I guess they're good. They keep making them.
Hey, I realized after we were talking about that I've got Zero and Kwai on my PC, and I think
I think I've got Kwai. I think I've got Kwai on PlayStation Plus from a while ago.
Yeah, I've probably got some on PS Plus as well somewhere. Like they are big time sinks.
Yeah.
It's like, yep, do you want to run a pachinko parlor? Not really. Well, do it for 40 hours. But yeah, so Yakuza 7 coming out, which is a good English release, and it looks nice. Then we had our Assassin's Creed, which we already talked about, which I guess, okay, so what we actually know about the Assassin's Creed. Okay, the worst fact, straight up, the game world's bigger than Odyssey. I'm just fuck off. Like, fuck off.
I am now 60 hours into Odyssey. Mm-hmm. I've probably got about 20 left, and that's me mostly mainlining it.
Yeah.
It is a big game.
I still stand by what I really, really want these open world game companies to do. I want it in Red Dead Redemption 2, even though I think there's major flaws in that game, and I want it in all of these, is to have, we release the game and it's a 20-hour game. And then even other developers can come into this game and build other games inside it. Have a detective game, have another action game, have a beat 'em up, because the worlds are amazing. They put so much work into it. But I don't fucking want to spend that much time doing one thing. I mean, I'm at like 150 hours of Animal Crossing, so what the fuck am I saying? I am an addict.
See, I mean, I'll talk a little bit more about Assassin's Creed later. But yeah, the idea of being bigger, I don't mind so much, depending on what they do with it. Like, if it's just bigger, but there's still little self-contained stories that I'm playing through, maybe the pacing will be alright. But yeah, I don't know. It kind of scares me.
It's interesting. I was listening to some people that know about history talk about this period of history. One of the problems I have talking about this period of history is that we know fuck all about this period of history. But one of the things we do know is that they didn't really have big castles that they lay siege to like they did in the trailer. People more lived in wooden huts.
I wonder if that'll take away something from me. Because one of the things I like about the series is the historical, I'd say accuracy, authenticity.
Yeah.
If there's less of that, I don't know. I may enjoy it less.
It's because it's going to be you from sort of Norway, but you go to London. So how are they going to depict London at that time? Is it just a large shanty town, or do they actually start saying there's some infrastructure there, even though historically there wasn't really?
I'd be interested to see, because at least in the past they've tried to be authentic to the period.
Yes, but as I say, like that period is not well defined in history. At least from what I've heard. I have not personally gone and researched. I have just trusted people that are...
You've trusted the internet.
I've trusted people that I trust.
Yeah.
People that like history.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then there's like this town management, and they've dabbled in that sort of stuff, and more RPG mechanics, which again is... I could buy Odyssey for $15 in Epic Store, and I had clicked checkout, and then it's like, do you want to pay the money? And I'm like, no.
I don't know if you can put that game on easy, and I think it basically negates the level scaling. Like it's just not.
Oh, you can turn the level scaling off in the game. Like that's a thing.
Yeah.
Because I know because it angered me.
Yeah.
But I just don't want to see a fucking purple drop. It angers me so.
I like my purples. I really like my oranges.
What's so great about the color coding thing is you really, really don't have to care, because it just tells you whether you care or not without anything meaning anything. They've color coded your excitement level.
It goes a little further than that in Assassin's Creed.
No, it doesn't.
I can't wait to talk about it more. Let's go. I want to get to Assassin's Creed.
No, well, that's the end of that. But
okay.
Because we went on to it, so Microsoft, very bad PR. It was a bad play.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll be fine. But then, next week, Epic said we have our showcase, and we are going to be showing our demo for Unreal Engine 5. Running exclusive. Well, the demo was running exclusively. It is not exclusive to. Some people didn't understand that. On the PS5.
Yes, that would be very strange.
No, the Unreal Engine 5 will run on everything, including mobile and the Switch.
Yes,
they are not going to do that. What was funny about the demo was that they made it look like a game, and it was interactive as a game. They like to say playable, but I bet playable means you push the stick forward and it plays through the animation.
Oh, I don't know.
It was. I mean, I'm a little bit.
No, I would actually say that what they were showing would have been actual real interaction, because like one of the things they had was like procedural animation, like walking through a wall, like through a door and a handle. I'm sure that was all like real blended animation.
But I'm more like most of it was pushing down a corridor, and because it was going to be playable at GDC, so it was going to be on the floor and you were going to be interact with it. So it would have. But the thing that I'm more at is that it's not a game. It's not planned to be a game. They're not demonstrating as a game. They're demonstrating as a tech demo.
Yeah. So me watching it, as a game developer, that was the lens that I was watching. Yes, of course.
I was shocked when I found out people did not understand that.
And like with game developer hat on, I was getting excited. Like when they were talking about, we've just got these things where the artist can make the model in ZBrush. Because ZBrush is the thing you use to model, where it's basically like sculpting.
Yeah. Just wait, what was the word you said then?
ZBrush.
No. Basically like...
Sculpting.
You said scobbling.
Oh, sculpting. Sorry, sculpting.
Or maybe I misheard. I was
scobbling.
Like, wait, that's not a word.
Basically like scobbling.
Sculpting.
But, which is great, like, because you can go in and basically make it out of clay, but you end up with this massively high, like the polys are just insane that are on it.
Sorry, so you say triangles now.
Oh, well, tries.
Which is another thing. People really make fun of the fact that they say, look at all the triangles in it. As if we don't use triangles as...
But they're still literally triangles.
It's like all polygons are triangles. That is fundamentally what the...
Yeah.
And suddenly people make fun... Like, this is like when they made fun of Al Gore for his, like, I made the internet, it's basically a series of tubes. And then you look it up, it's like, Al Gore did work on the internet. It's like, he knew exactly what he was talking about, and why are we making fun of him again? Anyway, continue.
Yeah, so like from a technical perspective, it looks amazing. So basically, the artists can just make these incredibly high detail models and just port it into the game. You don't have to worry about like loading it down or like just get it in.
That was the technology out of everything they showed in it that I thought was the one that had the most potential to impact game development and make and sort of like when we were saying before about indie teams can't make things that look great. It's like, well, if you don't have to spend all the resources in doing, the level of detail work, and if you can really just take a thing that you made, maybe you scanned it with phototelemetry or something like that. If you don't have to do all the optimization and getting that down, you could throw some pretty fucking fancy things in there.
I think what it means to me when I see it, it's like the games get cheaper to make.
Yes, well that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So it's like, we don't have to worry as much about poly limits.
Yes.
We don't have to the lighting and stuff they had, or like how they had like physics bouncing off the geometry.
Yeah.
And the level of the detail and geometry was crazy.
I think so what I need to see is this reminds me of like when Adobe announces new Photoshop features, and they go like when they first introduced content aware fill, which if you use Photoshop you're very aware of, but otherwise it's when you select an area and you basically say delete, but replace it with what you think should be there instead, and the algorithm works. It's like, it should be a bit of sky and a cloud, and then you try it on someone's face and you get monsters.
Yeah. Well, where I think I see it working better for AAA. Just an example is like the procedural animation of walking through the door. Like, if you want to put that in a game, unless you're going to use some pre-canned animation, it's like you have to have an animator. They have to be able to be skilled enough to know how to do different blend states and kind of things like that. Like, it's still, for a small team, you still need a person to do it. It's easier for that person.
But James, I'm literally talking about the one technology of bringing models into the game. We haven't moved on to the next technology.
Oh, okay.
No, it's fine. No.
Yeah.
No, yeah, my thing was basically when they're saying like you could just bring in this billion polygon thing and it will scale and look beautiful. I'm like,
challenge accepted.
I believe you. Like I bet it works fine most of the time, and I bet there's edge cases where it goes fucking crazy.
Like, I'm sure there's still some processing step where it's going to go through and get to a point.
I just want the GDC talk on it now.
Yeah.
It's like, and even though I'm saying this and I sound like I'm someone that knows what I'm pretending what I know what I talk about. I'm not. I'm not a super technical person with it. I understand the base concepts of technologies, but like you give it to me and it's just like giving a sewing machine to a donkey. What's the thing? Spinning wheel with
a mule with a spinning wheel.
I'm not doing anything with this. I do not understand what the fuck I'm talking about, but I am just like interested in the general process of trying to make that work because it seems like magic to me. And like the lighting super impressive.
Oh, the lighting, that blew my mind when I saw that.
But again, I feel every single generation we get sold some form of real-time lighting, and it's always like they're doing it, and every time it's better. But I'm always like, and again, all these things, if they're working the way they advertise and everything, make the game cheaper to make, and make like you look at.
They go down the bit that got me. Sorry, the lighting.
That's all right.
It was when because the detail on the ground of the level geometry was crazy, and the lighting was hitting it. And like, because normally what'll happen with lighting is that you'll have your geometry. The geometry that's used for rendering the lighting tends to be lower polygon than the actual what's being displayed. Like you can have like different models for just the lighting, and then that can be rendered at lower resolutions. All the stuff it does to basically make lighting low res, and this looked like all the little details and the edging was coming through, and then the bounce. So it was like it was hitting stuff and then illuminating like other things.
Yeah, like global illumination.
Yeah, it was. It was cool.
Yeah, you see, it's like, well, I mean, if you can, in theory, just make an environment or model of any sort, and then stick a light in it, and then this is now a functional environment in a game. Potentially makes making stuff high end much cheaper, or just making stuff cheaper generally, even if you are doing a stylized thing.
Because they were basically pitching it as you could take assets made for movies, and bring them into the games.
Because partly UE5 is also designed for movies. Yeah, they used it for the first season of The Mandalorian. I don't know if you watched that little documentary we linked to.
But I should. That's the making of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, they do and it's about the virtual sets they were doing, and it is because I think basically they had a projection in the set, so they could like, oh no, we're going to do it like this, and actually it'd be better if it was rotated a little bit later in the day, just like shift all that stuff around. And I think they said that because they were supposed to then replace it in post, and like it's actually good enough. Yeah, like, it looked fucking great, and it did look really cool. And it did. Because digital filmmaking is always a bit weird. You just got people in green suits running around. You just look at how lifeless those first 3 Star Wars movies are. And it's like, because you're just standing in a small room covered with green. And what the fuck are you even doing?
What are you doing?
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of bad digital filmmaking. But so that and some... Like at the end, there's this flying sequence that's fucking crazy.
Because then it got to the point of like, oh, by the way, we can also do open world. Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay, crap. It's just going out, zooming through all this level stuff. I'm like, all right.
So hopefully, what it means is that they're creating these tools that people can access to make game development easier.
And I think in this case, they were also leveraging the PS5 for its read speed. I think that was part of it.
Apparently, someone's in. They ran the same demo on a laptop, and it was fine.
Oh, okay.
So, because they also they have the one, because if they're saying that, they have the one confounding part of that demo, which is she does a wall squeeze, where she goes through a tight corridor and goes. It's like those only exist to mask loading times, and if it's all about the read speed, you don't need that. So who knows how much swing is, how much spin is on this and what it means. And because the thing is, like, it is a technology for everything. So they're saying they developed it with the PS5 in mind, but also they would have started on this like a few years ago, because this is a project of this is like a decent sized team's project for 2 years sort of thing.
I think they've already announced they're going to bring Fortnite to UE5, which means it's going to be running on mobile as well. I mean, it's crazy how scalable that thing is.
So, and then the other thing to go on, and that this gets more businessy, is that they changed their licensing deal to be very, very generous, which previously it was if you make more than $3,000 in a quarter, you have to pay 5% royalty to Unreal, which is fair enough, but it's if you're just making $3,000 in a quarter, you're not doing that well. Yeah. Now it is you don't have to pay anything until you make $1 million. And whilst if you're a decent sized team, you'll probably be wanting to make a few $1 million. It certainly gives people a fucking safety net. And if you are a small single developer or a 2-man team or something, I know a few of those. That's you, James. You're a 2-man team. It's like $1 million means you're.
Hey, if we got $1 million, I'm a happy man.
Yeah, you're pretty happy. You're very happy to pay that royalty fee at that point.
At some point, I really need to spend like a month or two just making something in Unreal. Like there'd be a massive amount of me reskilling to kind of move over to engine. But then I think like there's probably certain games I could make that in that engine make a lot of sense. But yeah, I'm so heavily invested in the Unity kind of scene. It's like it's still not the benefit I can see just yet.
But I am starting to see like on the indie devs Twitter sphere, Unity is certainly losing its shine, and people are like, maybe it is time to reskill.
I think that Unity's going to be around for a long time.
I'm not saying it's going anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm just starting to see more of a trend in that.
I would say that's
literally my Twitter is just 100% indie devs.
Yeah. See, like I'd say, maybe that in the Twitter sphere, but from everyone that I know, I have not. I've seen no shift towards Unreal.
That's a lie, because you know some of the people I'm talking about. Don't worry.
Okay, you have to tell me.
We don't have to throw any names out.
No, yeah, just like I haven't picked up any trend to move.
I don't think anyone's moving yet. I think it's just more like looking at greener pastures.
I would say, if I was the size of Defiant, I'd probably be like maybe the kind of stuff that they did.
When you're saying the size of Defiant, I'm like, we're talking current or post,
like pre dissolve. Like that kind of size studio. I kind of think, like that those kind of games kind of make sense. But then you've also got this other problem of right now there's such a huge skill base in Unity. There's a lot less in Unreal.
Which is what I think they're playing for. They want to get the next gen coming into it. They want the fact that when Unity first was like getting big, that suddenly Unity's in all the high schools and all the universities because it's free to license and everyone can use it. And so that whole generation of game developers grew up in Unity, and that's what they're comfortable with. So like, whilst there's lots of games that use Unreal, not as many as you kind of think sometimes. Like as one of the big tool sets. It's like,
well, it's still also not as user friendly as something like Unity.
Yes.
Like it is still, Unity does kind of have this nice kind of like, it both was for it and against it. Like it is the thing you can use to do asset flips. Like it's so easy. You go to the asset store, you pull down some stuff, you can move some things around. You don't have to write any code, and you'll kind of get something out. And like I know you've got like blueprints in Unreal, but that's still like some kind of like scripting logic you have to have. Like you have to understand how to click stuff together. Where Unity, you can kind of just like
drag and drop the whole fucking thing.
A lot of things and get something out.
I just rolled in a first-person control module. I just dropped that down here, and I'll drop in Space Corridor 3, and then I got that same skeleton that everyone uses, and I put it in there, and we're good to ship.
But I think like from the technical side, one of the things that interests me with Unity is having something. Sorry, with Unreal is something that I can. Because it's all open source. Like there's always this big problem with Unity because it's this black box. Like just for example, like I'm doing some like Apple TV stuff. Their controller interface is broken. Like their B button to go back will double fire and it'll eject you from the app on Apple TV. It's broken. Been broken for ages. Their right stick, the X-axis doesn't work. It's like, okay. So if this was Unreal, I could just go, okay, all right, cool. Here's the source, get in there, do a fix, and I can go, hey, send a pull request to someone and go, look, it's fixed if you need it. Done. Yeah, not with not with Unity.
So anyway, so PlayStation has still yet to do an official reveal, but they've now unofficially got like the most impressive graphical thing thrown out there. And then, as I said, we've got a bunch of people that didn't understand that it isn't a real game, and therefore it's not really going to look like that when it ships. It's like, it's not going to ship. It's a tech demo. It's designed to show off some features.
I believe that what they showed there, the games could look like that.
Oh, like, I don't think any problem at all.
Yeah, there was nothing I saw in that where I was like, that's bullshit. Like,
there's one very, very, I think, iconic thing that shows that it's not bullshit, which is when she walks through the water, and they said that we've got dynamic water. Like, I know, because that's the shittiest water I've seen in fucking years. It was like, you know when like people wanted to do splashes and they did it with height maps? It looked like that. I'm like, ooh. I mean, they panned away from it very quickly. I'm like, I bet you they weren't ready to show that water, and they're just like, let's move on.
It's there. It's there if you need it.
We got dynamic water. Just don't turn up the values as much as we did. And maybe it was just a take, and it wasn't a good splash, but everything else was fine. So because it is still an interactive demo, even though I doubt its level of interactivity. I assume you just move the stick primarily, and you can guide them around, and everything else is just. Like, that flying sequence at the end, I assume, is just basically you can't fly off that path.
I wouldn't think so.
No.
Yeah.
But that's not what it is. Okay, cool. So, my
your
pen's falling
Your
apart.
pen exploded.
Shit. I caught the screen. It's the spring. I play with it too much. I'm a bastard. Okay. Let's talk about some games we play instead of just talking about games that are in the future. So, we had... Well, actually, I think it had just been announced when we recorded the last one, but we didn't talk about it last episode. A new XCom game. They said, look, we got a new game. It's called Chimera Squad.
Not Chroma Squad, which
No.
was in my head for a while, and that's a different game.
What's Chroma Squad?
Chroma Squad is like a strategy game where you play like TV Power Rangers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. Good memory. I think, didn't we do like a chat with the developer?
Probably. We spoke to a lot of developers back in those Kickstarter days.
Yeah. Anywho's, I just like... There we go. They're checking that the record button's
Still going. It's still red. It's still red.
It's still good. Still good. Yes, they announced that, and it was a different take on XCOM.
Yes.
It's not XCOM 3. It's a small game based after XCOM 2.
Which this is where like I kind of think it's XCOM 3 in the way that XCOM Apocalypse was. Hear me out. All right, so after XCOM 2 was XCOM Apocalypse, which was an XCOM set in a city managing factions.
I just don't think the way they've pitched this.
No, that's not, and I think for good reason.
Yes. So basically, Chimera Squad is very different to Max XCOM. In fact, that you don't have randomized characters that you grow up running. You have set characters that have personalities and have a story.
There's no permadeath. If a character dies, it's mission over.
Mission. So it's a real different take with that. They've also done a big change to the turn order.
Well, that's the biggest change.
So instead of going your team, their team, it's actually per character.
Yeah.
And you can see that turn order. So it becomes almost a little bit more puzzly in that it's like, I've got to... That person's turn next, but if I can disable them, they won't have a turn. And then
and there's like an ability to bring someone up in the list, and
So it's sort of based. It's a small. The encounters are smaller. You are basically a SWAT team, and you go into encounters, and there is a breaching phase where you choose what entries you want,
which I
to
really
use.
like. So the breaching phase, it's like each area section, because you do a mission. Each mission is broken into a series of encounters.
I think they're all 3, aren't they?
Yeah, I think it can be less, I think, but I think it's like up to 3. And then between each phase, you get an opportunity to think how you're going to attack the next one. And then there's a breaching. And then there can be different breaching options depending on the items that you have and the
which
characters you have. So, for example, there might be... Because one of the things is like a slithery snake character. And so if there's a vent, maybe the snake can go into there. And I like it because like each of the entry points, they can have like pros and cons. So it'll be like... The first person through here will get an extra shot, but the last person will jam their gun or something like that. So you get some nice little kind of decisions about how you're gonna go going through it.
Choosing those points, and they have little, and they're randomized. A lot of the perks and cons that you get for going through those breach points, and you go and you don't see the room beforehand. You go in, and then you sort of have an opportunity to do an action during.
It's like a surprise phase. Yeah.
So that's pretty cool, and otherwise. It's pretty XCOM-y, but the turn order changes things quite a lot.
Changes it a lot for me. And I think I still don't know if I like it or not. Like I like the change because it is so different.
So I had it pointed out to me why this game is very fundamentally flawed. So XCOM, we all know about having a 98% hit chance and it missing, and you going, fuck. And when you get close quarters, that becomes even more annoying in that, like, they're one square next to me. I've got a shotgun. How did I... Did I just shoot it in the ceiling? What's going on? Now, the problem is that they're smaller encounters, but they've retained this idea of probability. Now, what's great about probability is over a long period of time, it evens out. So it's like, okay, yes, you missed the 98% shot, but every other time you've gone for 98% shot, it's been fine.
There is an attachment you can get which guarantees damage on misses.
Yeah. So you can mitigate a little bit to a degree. But when a round might only be 4 turns, when you get that bad miss, it hurts so much more than when you had a round that had 200 turns in XCOM 2 because it was this massive map and all this stuff. Because you still get hard failures and everything. But in this, the hard failure is very hard. And that's where I'm like, maybe I prefer Mario and Rabbids.
I think for me, the bit I've been struggling to get into is like what I like with XCOM 2. Like XCOM 2's out on Switch very soon, and I'm excited. And what I like about that one is when there's this, we go, they go kind of thing. There's a lot of planning.
Yeah.
Like it's like, okay, I'm going to use Overwatch to cover this side. I'm going to, go around and try and flank over here in case someone's through this door. It's like you look at your current situation and go, okay, what can I do to kind of like handle whatever happens? Where this one, that's kind of out the window. Like I think I've played a bit of it now. I don't think I've ever used Overwatch. Just because...
Really?
Like, I just don't really see...
It's very Overwatch heavy, I thought.
I never use it. Just because, like, I've got one thing I can do.
I guess it's not super. I was confusing it with Gears, which we'll talk about later, which is extremely Overwatch heavy.
and it's because if I go into Overwatch, I'm forfeiting a turn.
Yes. And
I have to rely on someone else moving into it. So I can kind of use it to kind of pin someone down, but then I could also just shoot at them or something like that. So it sort of feels like there's little bits of XCOM there that just don't really work with this kind of new system.
Yeah.
What I have really liked about the combat is because each of the characters is so defined and has so many special abilities. It is kind of good thinking about how can I have these synergies of kind of people working together, and they've tried to make it so everyone's got like something special. So like for example, one of the snake, going back to the snake thing, the snake one's got this thing where it can do a pull.
Yeah.
So you can kind of pull someone and come next to them, or if you're next to someone, you can wrap them up and take them out of the fight. And then like they can't really shoot at you now because like if they shoot at you, they might. Like if you get wrapped up with someone and you try to shoot the thing that's wrapped up your friend, then you might hit your friend.
Yeah.
So it's like these interesting little things that kind of come out of it, and I like all that new stuff. But I don't know, just that kind of like new turn order. I felt like I lost the ability to go, right, let's plan out what's going to happen. And maybe that's part of the reason I like the breach part, because that's the point where I can. That's where I can say, cool, I'm going to do this thing. How can I kind of like plan it out? And...
But you're also blind going into that.
Yeah, so it's only very limited.
You're making tactical choices, but you're going it without much information.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I'm sounding a little bit negative on what I was saying there. Like, I still think it's very cool. And it's also a budget game.
Yeah, I paid $15 for it.
Yeah.
Like, it's dirt cheap. For that price, it's very good.
And then what shocked me is it's not a short game. It's like a fucking 30-hour game. I wasn't expecting.
Well,
I wanted like an 8-hour experience.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was going to be.
And it's got like it doesn't quite have like a meta layer like the other XComs,
but it's still there.
It still has research and stuff.
Just like the rest of it, the game it's just like scoped down. So it's like you've got your city, and then.
And I didn't want it.
It's like each section has a terror track, and if you don't do things right, the terror track goes up, and okay.
So what was interesting because Tom Francis hit signature in Gunpoint. His current game he's working on is called Tactical Breach Wizards, and it's a small squad based XCOM like. Where you have a breach phase
and you're also wizards.
So and you're wizards and you're also wizards. Yeah. Like
never been done.
Yeah. It's great. And so he was. I was listening to him talk about it. He was because he's like it's very pertinent to what he's dealing with. He's like, it actually ended up being very different. For one, he doesn't have like the percentages and everything. But their thing then becomes more of a puzzle. It's more like a Into the Breach. I was going to say Faster Than Light. I was like, nope, same developer, different game. Yeah, that Into the Breach. And I think, like, I did not want this to be Into the Breach. I want it to be XCOM-y. But I think there's like, the design just isn't completely robust for the price that it is and what you get out of it.
Yeah.
I think it's fucking cool.
Yeah, and I like the aesthetic as well. I like how they've got this sort of like kind of 80s neon thing going. A little touch of it.
Except, most people can still get Game Pass for $1, and they released a game that's also a tactics game.
Yeah,
that's much cooler.
Yeah, I've heard it's quite good.
So Gears Tactics came out. Fine. I thought it came out a while ago and it had no fanfare, but I was just wrong. So it came out and it did get fanfare. It got very good reviews, and I haven't played a lot of it. But what's cool about it is that so Gears is a series where you run to chest high walls and you shoot things and then you move. Perfect for an XCOM.
It is not insane turning that into a XCOM strategy game.
Yeah. And almost all the mechanics from the game just work in a turn-based thing. You do a lot more killing than you do in most XCOM games because you will just Like you end your turn with an Overwatch, and then just a bunch of like little fuckers just run out, and you're just wasting them all in the next turn.
And with this one is if you do a melee kill, you get another turn.
Okay, so here is where it really differentiates itself, and is a very aggressive XCOM, which is a great thing because if you want to do a turn-based game with Gears, it's like, well, what is Gears? Okay, yes, chest hard walls, but it is still a very aggressive shooter. So you don't want people just turtling and shit. You want people wasting motherfuckers. So, if you down an enemy, then you can go and do an execution. Doing an execution gives every other character you have one more action point. So, if you chain it right, you can just be going one person run ahead, down, execute someone, then the next person can push up, take out someone else. That other person now has another turn again, and you can fucking jockey run through. And if you're doing it well, you could cause a lot of damage on your turn.
Yeah, it must be very satisfying.
Yeah, and that basic change really changes the dynamic of what you do. It has all the gear stuff like emergence holes open up. It's like you got to chuck a grenade in it, or it will keep spawning enemies and stuff like that. And I think the spawned enemies are kind of... Because when they come out, they have their turn. So it's like people you weren't even on the map now cut out and have their full turn. And you're like, oh, fuck! So you want to get those holes shut quickly. Which is good. You want to have the panic there. And as I say, it makes it aggressive. And other than that, it plays exactly like you think it would play. I have small interface gripes with both games, both XCOM and this. But both of them are completely competent. And they both, like, some are better. And it's morely just like when I played, because I haven't played XCOM in a while, and I've like my first move. It was the first move in the game. It was like, fuck. I'm like, okay, I want to. Do I want to move over here? I'll just right click and see my options, and right click's like commit.
Oh, you just
And I was like, oh fuck! I didn't know. Like, damn it! Why didn't anyone warn me?
Yeah.
Gears was better at warning me before I made a mistake.
I actually did. It had quite a few misclicks in Chimera Squad.
Okay. You got to reload in Gears.
Oh,
reload things in action. I was like, this is cool. I like it.
Does it have the same little mini game where you can?
No, not quite. It does. But it's also like, Chimera Squad is, comic panel storytelling and everything. This is full blown Gears game.
Yeah,
it's got production value out the wazoo. I don't know what's going on. I didn't really pay attention to the story of 5 because this is a prequel. This is before the first Gears.
Oh, okay.
But you are the father of the main character in 5. So I was like, okay, I don't really know what's going on anymore. I don't really care. But hey,
I stopped paying attention after 2.
Yeah, I understand what's going on, and just like, they're all unique. They're not. Most of the characters are unique characters. You can get general grunts going on, but then they'll have their own special abilities, like being able to. What's the run called in Gears? Not jockey run, something run. So anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah, like you go, oh, well, this character could just basically run in a straight line and fuck anyone that gets in the way until that will stop them. And yeah, it's got really good movement options. And as I say, and also it hides the grid really well.
Is it still grid based?
I'm pretty sure it's grid based, but the environments feel very natural. It's like, I just want to go to the chest hard wall, and it tends to, it indicates very well what you're going to do. If you're going to go and execute a motherfucker, you want to know where you're standing after you execute the motherfucker. And it's all nicely laid out. Really impressive game. And out of the two, probably Gears is where I'd lie. Both very good games, but also both games you can get kind of cheap if you're doing it right. Because that's the thing. It's like, would I pay $60 US for Gears Tactics? No, but that's just me. It's not necessarily worth it. But will I continue to subscribe to Game Pass and play it when I feel like it? Yes, I will. So Microsoft has me in there.
They already got you.
In their green grips. Yes. Okay. Shall we talk about more news before we talk about Animal Crossing for an hour? Actually,
I should have brought my Switch with me. I could be playing Animal Crossing while we talk about Animal Crossing.
I like Animal Crossing, but there's nothing new to say, really. I don't even know if we mentioned the update last time. There's more stuff. I'm surprised at... Well, actually, I suppose the one thing, I think its sales have now exceeded all the lifetime sales.
It was crazy. It's
like
crazy.
13 million in the first
3
weeks
They had the perfect storm for that game. Nothing could not have been. I think I'd say best release of a video game ever.
50% of those sales were digital.
Oh, so much money.
They made so much money. All the money in their tiny Japanese hands.
Yep.
Okay, let's do some news, and some of this is Nintendo news.
Okay.
So actually, on Nintendo development, We are not to be expecting a around when E3 would have been style Nintendo Direct.
I'm not getting my Metro Prime 4.
No, definitely not.
I'd like to see some.
I would have said that before.
I'd like to
this
see
COVID thing
a little bit this year.
Yeah, but remember they just restarted it last year or whatever.
I know
There's
it's going to be.
nothing.
Yeah, look, I would be surprised if it was like whatever the Switch new is like for it.
We'll see. We'll see. So they will not be doing it partly because COVID has really fucked Nintendo. Because I've learnt some things about Japanese culture. So Japan has a slightly different work culture.
Oh, put it mildly.
Put it mildly. But one of those things is that it's very, very important to do face-to-face business because it shows respect. So when you can't do face-to-face business, it seems they don't know what to do. It's like, oh, how could we possibly put together a video if we're working at home? And me as a video maker, like, why would that make a single difference to anything you're doing? But no, it's really put a hunking. So they're not doing it direct. And we thought that might meant that we get nothing. Then they said, nah, we're just going to do this. And they, just the other day, dropped a trailer for the new Paper Mario game, which is coming out next month.
Yeah, out soon.
And yeah, and they said, we'll be doing this for the foreseeable future. We'll just be dropping trailers
and then go
quite close to release.
You got this next month.
Yeah.
I'm okay with this.
No fanfare. It's fine. Yeah. Cool. So the new Paper Mario, it's called the Origami King. And I think it looks very promising. I think it looks really cool. It's got all this origami folding in it, and Nintendo have become masters of doing that sort of craft world stuff. But it's a very vibrant world, shows a lot of variety because the last two games, Color Splash and Sticker Star, especially Sticker Star.
Sticker Star was
very monotonous, uninteresting game, and the combat was.
I hated the combat.
Just rat shit.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to return to classic combat, and I don't think this game does it either. But they haven't detailed it yet. But I think it's interesting. So I think actually the base combat is a bit close to the original, but they got a new twist. And it goes like this. And that twist is that combat takes place on a turntable.
Okay.
And so there's a bunch of rings, and enemies are on those rings. And before you do your action, you can rotate those rings to position the enemies to say, put them all in a row so you can go jump, 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 and get them all in one turn.
Yeah, okay.
Which is the only example they show in the trailer.
Yeah.
And weirdly, all the other details we've got from different regions trailers that have slightly different edits, which is
why? Why did you have a? Okay.
So the only gameplay implementation that I've seen linked in other media was, I think, in the Italian trailer. They've got a board with boos on it, and the boos that are behind the player can attack them, and the boos that are rotated in front of the player
so you
got to
kind of rotate.
So it's like, okay, as soon as you start showing that, I see how the position is going to matter, and you got to make these tactical choices. And one of them had the exact same scene, but with Toad with you, because in the one we had didn't have Toad. It's like, oh, so it looks like you do have partners.
Yeah, okay.
But we had to hide it for some reason. I don't know. Nintendo's weird.
They're a strange company.
But also, I mean, I suppose doing that made people scour all these different trailers. It's slightly different. It looked, the writing in it was quite funny, which is what you want from a Paper Mario game. It just looked very vibrant, and I'm feeling very hopeful about it. Because it was also like rumored that it was coming. So it's nice to see that the rumor's confirmed, which also leads credence to us getting those other remakes of Mario hopefully this year, since it is big anniversary year this year. So yes, that was that. Let me see if there's anything else Nintendo related on here. Nah, that's it. Done.
Is it done? Finished?
Nintendo's finished.
No. Shut up about Nintendo.
That company is going nowhere.
Yep. What have they done recently that's made any money? Nothing.
Nothing at all. Okay, Tony Hawk's back.
Yes.
Remake of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2.
I want to know if they're going to manage to license all the songs again.
So they've at least managed to license most of the songs.
Okay.
I am
impressed with most.
Yes. So they haven't quite confirmed that it's all, but at least it's a good percentage of it. But there's one thing about this that I'm very, very excited about. So it looks nice. Hopefully it plays well. It seemed to. There's a good video of Jack Black playing it for some reason.
Sure.
But they've kept the roster. But it's modern day.
So they're older?
So Tony Hawk is 51.
Yes. Amazing. And look, I know this has worked well because I got myself a haircut a couple of days ago, and the barber, he was bringing it up.
Oh, yes.
He was like, "Oh, you hear there's Tony Hawk's getting remade?"
I love it when you get that intersection. I'm going to sound like such a patronizing asshole here. That intersection with the normal people.
It was great. He's like, "Do you like Far Cry?" I'm like, "I do. I like Far Cry quite a lot. Let's talk about Far Cry for a while."
I love it when it's like, especially like tradies and everything. They go, "Oh, do you like games?" Like, I do. And I just go, "What are you playing?" Playing Anthem. I'm like, great. What do you think, as someone that has no contact with the internet? Well, they don't have any. They're not interested in the gaming side of the internet. What do you think about Anthems? Oh, it's fucking great. Playing it with my brother every weekend. We've been flying around and shooting shit. I'm like, yes, exactly. Our bubble is very negative.
Yeah. Because that person does make up the vast majority of the people buying
So new Tony Hawk, its first 2 games, there are some notable changes, namely that the moveset reflects at least up to
being 50. It's like, well, just going to be a little careful. Don't land too hard. Oh, my knee.
Yeah, what would be great is if when you fall, it just like takes that little bit longer. It's like, fuck. So they have the moveset from the later games.
Yeah.
So there's the wall planning and reverts and stuff like that, which I'm fine. I'm not a purist to it. I mean, I did play 1 a bit, and then I just like American Skateland on the DS.
Yeah, I think I played 1 and 2 a fair bit.
I think one of the undergrounds I played quite a bit, but I was never a obsessed purist or anything. But I sure did try playing that HD remake and did not really care for it.
Yeah, the best thing about the
I
HD...
didn't hate it like everyone else, but I was just like, this does nothing for me.
The best thing about the HD remake was that I could get footage of it running at 60 frames a second. So when I was making a skating game, I could look at because it's making a mobile skating game. I was thinking, look, I can get away.
Yeah, I can
get away with whatever dodgy shit that they do. That's my bar. Because I feel like if I can get the bad Tony Hawk running on mobile, I'm doing all right.
I started seeing people that are very obsessed with games, like picking apart frame by frame the trailer, showing like, and if you watch the way the board moves here, unfortunately that looks like it might be using the physics from... I'm like, you guys wait until it's hands on at least, not just like a quick cut from a trailer.
And also, I watched some of the very closely the footage from like old Tony Hawk and the latest Tony Hawk, and as someone who was there watching it frame by frame, I didn't really, I couldn't notice much of a difference between the two.
James, we are not qualified.
But I guess
we don't get it. But speaking of skateboarding on mobile, the best news this week was or maybe it was last week, was the news on Skate 4. And unfortunately, I don't have the quote here.
Oh, yeah.
I expect it was... I had it when we were going to do it as a mobile record. It was on the computer. But yeah, a skateboarder that had been in Skate 3, EA contacted him and said, like, we want to talk about Skate. It's like, great. Are we making Skate 4? That would be excellent. This is my impersonation of a skate. I said, no, we want to put Skate 3 on mobile. He's like, pass. What about Skate 4? It's like, no, we're not interested in that. That's the end of what we're talking about. It's like, no one wants your shitty mobile port, EA. Make Skate 4. It'll pay off for you in the long run. Good luck with fucking, what was it? Call of Duty 19 or whatever?
Yeah.
I was like, yep, that sounds like what a skater would say. But speaking truth as well. Because the truth is, Skate 4 would not be a massive money maker. No. Hopefully, it would make money, but it would not.
It wouldn't make mobile money.
No, exactly. But it also would pay dividends in goodwill.
Yeah.
Although I sometimes just wonder if.
Well, this is why we need our subscription future, because then Skate 4 makes sense. Because what Skate 4 does do, get subs.
It does. That's true, actually. Okay. Oh God, it has been long since I wrote this list. We saw a Prince of Persia game that we didn't.
Oh,
get.
yeah.
Prince of Persia Redemption.
It looked good.
The amazing thing was the footage had been on YouTube for 8 years.
Yeah, somehow
and no
we missed
one had
it.
Noticed.
I didn't like the model of the prince, or the run animation of the prince.
I excited you by telling it was based on Jake Gyllenhaal, and you believed me. Because for some reason you trust the words that come out of my mouth sometimes.
I think I'd learn.
Oh, but no,
it looked good.
Yeah, they had a big Cthulhu monster tearing a city apart, and you running around the torn up city.
Doing stuff with the sands, rewinding time.
Yeah, it had the sands back, which was cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we'll never get it.
Okay. One of the big news stories from Last of Us 2, got delayed extra because of COVID, primarily just because they wanted everyone to play it at once and not get it spoiled. Ironic.
It was spoiled.
The entire game was spoiled because a vast number of the cutscenes were just uploaded by someone that really wanted to fuck the company for some reason. I don't think we ever found out who.
Yeah.
Whatever. I think they might know, and there might be stuff privately happening. There was speculation, but nothing based on anything. Yes, so it showed the vast majority of the story, and I was I don't like Naughty Dog games. One problem with Naughty Dog games is that they're very long, and
yes,
Last of Us 2 is their longest game ever.
Well, I tried to play Last of Us, the first one, and I got about a third through, and it's very long, and my PlayStation died, and it hadn't backed up any of my saves, and so I had to start the very long game again, and I just never did.
Last of Us, I played, and I was like, this game's very pretty, and then maybe about a third through, I don't like playing this.
Well, the problem is I didn't like the gameplay part.
Yes. I'm not big on the gameplay of the game.
And I find it's kind of a common thing with me with Naughty Dog games. I don't much like the game part. I like... So whenever I play an Uncharted game, I'm like, easiest, please. Because all that's going to do is take the combat out. More
fun.
And I will have fun playing your video game.
I played through all of Uncharted 4. That's the only one I ever got through, I think.
I enjoyed Uncharted 4. And I played it on very easy.
Yeah, I think I turned it down to pretty much easy. Because it's just like... The gunplay wasn't fun for me.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that it was hard. It was just like wasn't good. It's like it slowed it down. And I'm supposed to be playing a fun action game.
Yep.
I want to be able to run through the street firing because it's a fun action adventure. I don't want to...
Yeah, I learned my lesson in Uncharted 1. I was like...
That one especially is very bullets.
I got halfway through and I was like, I'm just not enjoying this game. And I was like, I put it on easy. Suddenly I loved it.
So, Last of Us Part 2.
Yes.
I'm like, do I look?
Because I just didn't look.
Because I'm like...
I find this really easy to avoid.
I'm never gonna play it. Because I might play it, but I'll never get all the story because I'll never finish it. I'm like, do I look... So I've generally looked.
Yes.
I know the general twist. The one that all the dickheads are angry about. And like I am literally not going to even infer to anything here. And it really becomes one of those things because there's a whole bunch of people that are angry, and they're angry about the story. And my feeling is always just because like whilst they can watch the whole cutscenes, it still lacks the context of the actual 20 preceding hours of playing it, interactions, that sort of stuff. Like, look, I can't tell you that it will be the best story ever in a video game because I can't tell that. But I also can't tell you it's the worst because you can't tell that from what we've seen in there. Because none of these people that are complaining know fucking anything about story writing. They think they do because they watch a lot of angry YouTube videos.
Which is most of the gaming sphere.
Look, I shaved off most of my beard. It has grown back quickly though. That's a week of growth. I made a mistake trimming it. Yeah. It took a chunk out. I was like, fuck it. Everything's gone.
Yeah. Oh, well.
I'm not allowed to take the goatee off. The wife won't allow it. I'd be happy to lose it. It's fine. But people really suck at objectively, especially when you write a story in a bunch of bullet points. It's like,
oh yeah.
You don't understand at all what's going on.
Yeah,
most stories suck in bullet point form. Let me tell you.
No, you just read the wiki.
Yeah,
you read Wikipedia for your story.
From the twist, there it is. Sounds interesting to me. I'd like to see how they do it. Maybe after it's weird. I feel like I don't have any problem spoiling it. I feel like spoiling it this long before it comes out is weird. So maybe once it comes out, I might spoil it for myself. You're like, I'll just watch it now. But, and I don't really want to be in the conversations with a lot of these people that are doing it because they're bad actors. They've got bad faith arguing. They have other objectives going, which is kind of funny since their big argument is that they don't like the objectives of the people that they're arguing against.
Yeah.
Like, I think you're all projecting far too much. It is a zombie video game with grisly characters doing grisly things to each other. Oh, we've mimicked everybody's fucking blood pressure. Why did they do that? Because they did. It's like, why did you simulate that? Naughty Dog is an amazing studio, and I don't care for most of what they do, but it is jaw dropping.
Yeah,
like you go through Uncharted 4 again, and you're like, how? Why is it? Why is it when there's a hill with some gravel on it, you can shoot the gravel at the top, and it realistically cascades down, picking up more gravel as it goes along and causing like a gravel slide? Who programmed that and why? There's no purpose for this to exist except it was months of somebody's work.
All I can think is that they have periods where it's a giant team and things are done.
Yeah.
And so it's someone sitting there like, I got nothing to do. You know what? I'm going to do the gravel physics.
Yeah.
Has anyone got a problem with that? Like, no.
It's like, if I do the gravel physics, you could use them for something else later.
Okay.
Did they use them for something else later?
No.
Yeah, it's like the most incredible team in gaming that, just don't like playing their games that much. But
hey, I thought Uncharted 4 was great. That was one of my favorite PS4 games.
I mean, I got to the end of it.
Yeah, I think it had an amazing story. I really enjoyed the arc for Drake as a character. I really liked it.
I like the bad guy in that one.
I like the wrap up. Like, I thought 4 was a good...
It had a little bit too much convenient box pushing for me. I remember the box pushing so clearly, especially in a few scenes. I'm like, why is there a box here? And why can't I just climb up? I guess I'm going to push this box, with a bit of yellow tape on it so they know it's pushable. Okay. Games are weird. Anyway, speaking of PlayStation stuff and impressive looking games, they also had a video release, like State of Play. That's right, State of Play for Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh, yes.
It's not called Sekiro, which is what I was not saying in my head the entire time I couldn't remember the name.
So, this game, when I saw the original trailer, I didn't really care.
Yes.
And there's no particular reason. It was just like, I saw it, like, thematically.
It's very visually impressive.
Yeah, like, it looks visually nice. Like, I wasn't, like, in no way a slight on what I originally saw of it. It looked really nice. Like, okay, sure. Like, it looks really good, but it doesn't really have my interest. And then, the big, how was it, half an hour or so of actual gameplay.
The one that came out now.
Yeah. And so I just was like, I don't really care. Like, I didn't really... Because from the initial impression. And then I started hearing some good things, like, okay, I'll check it out. And then, as someone who is 60 hours into Assassin's Creed Odyssey...
This demographic.
Yeah, so as someone who has been loving this shit out of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I saw, it's Assassin's Creed Japan. And that's the pitch. Like, I can't say it's anything different than that. Like... It's mechanically, it's...
Look, I'll give it one major piece of praise over that.
Yeah.
This is Assassin's Creed Japan that has some actual stealth and assassinations in it, unlike Assassin's Creed games these days.
See, but and this is actually one of the reasons I got more interested in it, because I saw one of the things they're talking about. It's like, look, you can be stealthy, be the ghost, or hey, you want to put all your points into combat, you can just go in loud. Like, that's what
you
James...
can be the honorable samurai.
That's what James wants to do.
Yeah.
So I'm in. Like, that was like, I thought it was going to be like this, like, stealthy Tenchu kind of thing. And it can be. You can play it that way. It's not how James is going to play it. Now I'm in.
So I don't care at all.
I thought it looked great. I mean, art-wise, it looked phenomenal. One of the things I thought was kind of nice is, like, in Assassin's Creed, you've got the excuse of the fact that you're in a simulation. That you can get away with gamey things. So it's like, we want to have like a line that appears on the ground that you follow. It's like, sure, the Animus is putting in a path. Who gives a shit? This one, you can't do that. So they're like, well, how do we guide the player?
You summon the wind!
The wind will tell you. So it gives you little hints of like wind particles to go this way. Or, if there's something nearby, a sparrow friend will come fly next to you and lead you to something.
I really just want to be able to summon wind in incredibly inappropriate places.
There needs to be a button, which is like, give me direction.
There is.
And you can do that to summon the wind in all your kind of inappropriate places.
Yeah, that phrasing. There is a wind summon button. It was one of those things where I'm watching it, and I'm like, everything here, I can't complain about any of it, except the moment-for-moment gameplay is, again, just, I've done all of these things many, many times. And that is great comfort to a lot of people. And like, I know our friend Michael, and it's like, he saw it, it's like, this is the only game I'm excited for, and I am phenomenally excited for it. And I'm like, it's not like I can argue anything about that. It's like, yeah, it's a really fucking nicely looking game. And my kind of thought on it was that I probably won't get it on release, but it will be at least backwards compatible with PS5, if not have an updated version for it. Because I'm betting when the PS5 is released, there's not going to be that many games.
It'd probably be a good one to get.
So maybe I get it on the PS5.
Yeah, so, because it's out quite soon, isn't it? Is it like...
Yeah, like a month.
Like a month, yeah. Because I was just wondering where it fits with Valhalla. But Valhalla's not till
end of the year.
End of the year. So, yeah, because if it was too close to Valhalla, and I probably want to pick between the two, I might go Ghosts. Like, just because like, I've currently played a lot of Assassin's Creed, and I could play something similar mechanically, but, different.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I was also a tiny bit disappointed about how Assassin's Creed it was. Because it was sort of like... I thought it was this big other thing. I thought it was like going to be like basically this open world Tenchu, which it can kind of be.
Yeah.
But when I looked at it, I really saw more. No, this is modern Assassin's Creed formula in Japan. Like it didn't look like they'd done much beyond that.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, okay, this is actually more derivative than I thought it was going to be. But what it's deriving from, I'm very excited about because I like that a lot. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was going to be more. Just from originally in my head, where I was like, there's this nebulous thing of like this thing which I wasn't really interested in because I thought it was something that I didn't like. But it just turns out it was something that I liked.
It's something that you like.
Like, oh well,
it's not much more than what that is, but yeah. I mean, I assume it's going. Yeah, it's not a. I don't know. At the end of a generation, I want like the weird risks.
You want your Shadows of the Colossus.
Yeah, stuff like that. Like, yeah, it barely works on our hardware, but we did it anyway. We pushed it to the limit. But yeah, also, generations aren't what they used to be. So, boop-a-doop-boop. Here's a fun one. The Culling came back.
Oh, man, the internet hate machine, they loved this.
The Culling the Culling was a Battle Royale game that came out briefly after PlayerUnknown's. And it was somewhat unique. It looked quite nice, but it was focused on melee combat primarily. I remember Anae was on the show at the time, and she quite enjoyed playing it. Like, oh, okay, that looks kind of cool. Maybe one day I'll pick it up. But no, it died because they made The Culling 2. And they showed that they had no idea what they made because they made a game that was very similar to PUBG, except not as good.
And they pulled it after like 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then they said, we're going to go back to The Culling and we're going to do Culling some subtitle. And it was like released in some form, I can't remember. And then that died.
Yeah.
So now it's back.
It's back. It's back in arcade form.
Yeah, because I think it came back free to play and that didn't work. So I think now you pay for it again.
Yeah. So now what it is?
you can do it.
Okay. So okay.
I'll just get my laughs ready.
Let me give you the pitch.
Okay. Yes. Tell me. You've thought this pitch out. I can tell.
Okay. So we got this game. If you've already bought it,
yes,
you can have it.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
I bought it 3 times.
Okay. If you don't have it, you can buy it for $6. That's a pretty good deal, right?
That's the cost of a burger.
Okay. All right. Okay. So $6, you get the game. All right. With your copy of the game, which if you might have already have it because you already bought it.
I did.
You can play it once a day.
Once a day?
You get 1 match a day.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but if you win, you get another game.
How many people win in a battle royale?
1.
Okay.
But you get 1 a day free for that $6 game.
One play a day.
One play a day. Right.
Good.
But now, there are options.
People don't normally do long gaming sessions.
No, there are options, right?
I mean, I'm out of. I mean, I just play Animal Crossing on Switch, so I don't really understand. But this sounds great to me so far.
All right. So if you want to, though, you can buy tokens. You can buy matches.
Oh, like chat roulette.
Yeah. So
not chat roulette. What's many cams or something?
Yeah.
What's a cam girl? I obviously don't get enough cam girl sites.
No.
Anyway.
Yeah. So
Twitch.
So if you buy, I think it's like they end up being about 50 cents each or something like that.
Great.
Like I think it's not like you get like a few for $1 or something like that, right? So you can just buy them and you can, but because you're going to be winning all the time, you only need.
Not me. I'm awful.
or so you can pay. You can buy these. Have many for a few bucks, or you can pay.
What's best value?
Or you can pay a monthly fee.
Oh, great.
You can pay. I think it's about $8 or so.
Okay.
And you can play as many as you want.
Or you can
pay
actually, it's less.
Or you can pay about $3 for a week.
Okay. As many games as one of the game that I am.
It's many of the game which you have paid money for already.
Uh-huh.
You can play as much as you want for about $8 a week.
That's not even a game a day.
No. So what do you reckon?
Well, I save $6.
Yeah, and they've got this pitch And they've come out in this video of like, you're going to be so excited.
No. Remember the small company called Valve. So, bit of a risky company. And they thought, you know what? Let's take a wild risk and we'll release a card game. But if you're going to play it, you actually have to use tokens and buy them. And even though it's virtually got to buy all your extra cards and there's no randomizer, all this shit. And this small company somehow... Just wait, I don't know where my small thing is going. This major company couldn't fucking land it with the audience and everyone was like, you guys are... This is a stupid business model. You guys are fucked up. So when a small company that's made a game that's failed 4 times already pitches it, don't expect a lot of consumer confidence.
No. And I don't know, like, I mean, having been involved in companies which have made some really weird decisions, I can totally imagine there is whoever's at the top of this company who's okayed it, thought it was genuinely a very good idea.
They were on a lot of coke.
Yeah, probably.
Tokyo Game Show 2020 is cancelled. Goodbye. They're going to do a digital style event. No, I'm not going to bother talking about that. Mafia.
Someone's making a video game for Paul.
Well, let's go. So basically, the sort of a leak and now confirmed, and there's going to be a full reveal beginning of next month of the Mafia trilogy. Mafia 1, 2, and 3. And there's some remastering work going on. And then it sort of leaked that Mafia 1 was a full-on remake. Now, Mafia 1 is... I mean, I guess at least in like my heart is one of my favorite games. I don't know if it would hold up to doing that. It has been a while since I've played it. But
I'm looking forward to the car chase at the beginning of that game where I'm doing about 30 kilometers an hour up a hill.
So Mafia has a few things going for it. Mafia is quite realistic in its depiction of car physics. And these are cars in the... I think the game starts in the 30s?
Yeah, it's pretty early.
Which means cars are fucking terrible.
Yep.
And in fact, there's an opening... You are a cab driver at the beginning of the game and some gangsters jump in there. Hey, get out of here! Like, okay, let's speed along. And if the car chasing you like hits you a few times and like damages your car, there's a hill to get out of that opening area.
You're not getting up that hill.
The car may not be physically capable of getting out. You might have to just slalom really up that hill for 20 minutes to get out of the fucking thing because cars just don't have that much torque, especially when it's damaged. A lot of that game is deliberately mundane. Especially at the beginning,
there are speeding fines.
Yes, you get fines for speeding, for running red lights. You have to obey the basic road rules at least, which is something that I love because it makes. I think there's a very special thing for creating a mundane, so that when things do go tits up, when there is a crazy firefight, when you have to have a race through the streets, that's special.
Yeah.
In GTA, when it's like, I just drive on the sidewalk because it's faster. It's like that. There's no difference between like driving normally and it being in a chase in GTA is always the same thing. But in this game, because the world is normal, you become intimately aware of the streets, and so that you end up being able to take better shortcuts and do all sorts of things. And so it's really exciting when that stuff happens. Now, what hasn't been confirmed yet, because we're still finding out stuff, is whether that's actually being retained. Because one thing I heard today is they're adding story and they're making the game world bigger, which immediately made me go like, why?
Oh, okay. Because I remember that game was already pretty big.
Yeah, well, I don't know how big the landmass would be compared to modern day stuff.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
But it still was big enough for a small city. And there are areas of that game that I still only drove down those streets once or twice. Like, you're not seeing those, and it's just like... And if the cars are slow when you're doing speed limits still, how big do you want that? Because you don't want to spend forever going everywhere. You still want it to be somewhat concise. So if they want to make it more accessible, which is my worry, they lose the spirit of what made that game special. And otherwise, it's just a GTA clone that doesn't really have any open world stuff. It's just as linear.
Because it's quite more of like a linear story, isn't it?
There's basically nothing to do with the world.
Yeah, like it's open world, but it's more like they've used open world to make this linear story that you play through.
Which makes it especially for the time, very unique.
Yeah.
And there were foibles in it. There's a classic race that is basically unwinnable. And to the fact that they had to patch it so you can skip the race button.
Yeah.
And they made it easy.
I think I remember that race.
Yeah, it was difficult.
It might have actually been the part where I dropped off.
The story of the tale, and I've never had it confirmed or anything, is just basically that when they were building the game and building the race, they were playtesting it with racing wheels. And they never tested it with keyboard.
Okay,
and I guess controller, because it did have I think I had a console port as well.
I'm sure it did, yeah.
so it was quite winnable with a racing wheel. Keyboard and mouse, not so much.
Because I think there was also a mission prior to it where you had to steal the car, and then you had to drive it back without wrecking it. Like I remember that whole.
Yeah, because you're in like the whole game. You've been in like these really dicky old cars, and it's like, oh, you're in an early Formula One car now. It's like, holy shit.
I think that was the point that actually lost me, and I think it was that race. I just couldn't finish the race.
It's notoriously different. So that will definitely be looked at.
Yeah,
but I was like. Extra story and bigger world.
That's not what Paul wants.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not against it, but I want a good reason.
Yeah, because
that story was, I mean, it was pretty. It wasn't anything revolutionary when it comes to a gangster tale, but it was a solidly told gangster tale. Yeah. So yeah, Mafia. I'm at least looking forward to finding out more about it. That's most of our news.
Pretty impressed.
There's some stuff. Yeah. GTA 5 came out for free on Epic.
Is it still free now?
No, it definitely is expired by the time where
that shows that.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter. Crashed Epic. Yeah. And managed to crash their online service as well.
Really?
Yeah, as in Rockstar's online service.
Yeah.
Because there's so many new people just jumped in.
That was a good giveaway.
I bet a bunch of banned people got new copies of the game.
Yeah.
They probably spun up new Epic accounts so they can go get banned a few more times.
They probably spun up a few.
Yeah, exactly. But we were talking about maybe trying to give
GTA Online.
See,
we can understand what GTA Online is.
Because it was a bunch of unplayable shit, but I literally, last time I played it, I think it was the day it launched.
Yeah. And now
they just patched it in. So that was on PS3.
Now it just makes
so much money.
Like, unfathomable amounts of money.
Yeah. You don't need to make another game. You just keep adding stuff to this. Anyway, so other games that we played. Oh, Animal Crossing. I've heard of that. James, you've been playing. Which game am I going to say?
I don't know. You can pick.
Some Sunless Seas.
Sunless Seas for Switch.
What edition? I have also been playing some Sunless Seas scripts for Switch.
Zubmariner edition.
Submariner, yes. So my feelings are this game seems pretty good. Oh, Animal Crossing.
I noticed it like that. This is the problem with Switch right now. Like, there's been the Switch sale, right? I've gone and bought, because all these games I've with either for free because I've just used my credit because they were 17 cents.
Oh yeah. Especially the US store, they each day there'd be another 2-cent game. Or anything. Now this is going to be disgusting. I'm going to go get my Switch and do a thing, but you just
So it's the problem. I load up Sunless Seas because Sunless Seas that top-down roguelike choose your own adventure game. I don't know what you'd really kind of say it's like. Where you go explore the underwater seas of the Fallen London universe, and have crazy adventures which are mostly told through text. And so it's a good little portable game. You can sit on the couch and have your little crazy adventures. Where I went to this island of hamsters and rats, and I had to pick a side, and I picked the hamsters. And I made this hamster revolution, and they became the dominant species on the island, and then they oppressed the rats, and I went to the rat ghettos and started a revolt, and then was rejected from the island and could never return. It's a crazy game. But Animal Crossing, it's just there, and I can go check my rocks. I could...
James, I can't say what I was going to say.
How many hours have you played?
No, it's not hours I've played. Because of the sales,
yes,
I have 20 games on my Switch that I have never launched.
Oh, really? So from the sales, I've bought.
Now, a lot of them were under 10 cents.
Yeah. So I've bought sale. I don't have my Switch, if I can remember. Flashback.
I almost actually I was turned off because it had an awful filter over it, but you can turn that off.
Yeah. Irony Curtain.
Sure, it's not Iron Curtain?
I think it's Irony. It's like an adventure game, like a little quirky adventure game. I reckon you might like it.
Oh yeah, I think I see.
I played a little bit of it, and it seems pretty good. It reminded me.
My weird adventure game was the Rains Down Players.
Yeah, I've got
which I think is about a theater troupe.
Yeah, I don't know. There's so many games now that I bought on Switch, and I just because I buy them for $2.
But that's why you need to get at the US store. They'll literally be 2 cents.
And then I just see that there's Animal Crossing sitting there.
Look, this game I have played.
Yeah.
Stunt Kite Party.
What?
It's a kite party game.
I did stop myself from buying party games just because I know I'm not going to play them.
More battle slots. There we go. At least translation was free. That's good. They had cheap Artifix Monday games. At least I got them for the wife. She likes the Artifix Monday.
But yeah, Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing is. Oh, the other game I bought was that. What's that? The Steampunk SteamWorld, the card game.
Quest.
Yeah, I bought that thinking I've played a bit of it. I'm like, oh, this is cool. But
I liked it, but I fell off it.
Animal Crossing.
See, the thing is with Animal Crossing is that there's like this cute animal that lives at my thing, and I got to go and say hi and give him a flower.
Well, I got a sad letter from one of my residents.
I don't talk to any of my residents anymore, so when I do run into them, they're like, oh, so we are still friends, are we?
No, I talk to them a lot.
I don't.
Oh, I talk to the ones I want to keep. There are certain residents I have which I don't want.
Yeah.
I just ignore them. But I almost lost my favorite. And he came up to me looking sad. It's like, I'm thinking of moving on. I'm like, nah, man, you staying. Like, yeah, I should. Like, yeah, we're bros. He calls me Vitamin J.
Vitamin J. That's a pretty good name.
Yeah.
They call me Rambler.
But yeah, I had a sad letter saying that, I like being alone, but sometimes it gets a bit much. And then, I went to check in her house. And
I relate.
And she wasn't there. And so I walked. She's my little ram friend. And I walked around and found her.
I was very excited. There was a ram in my campsite today. It's like, I wonder if I can get them to stay. I started talking to them, and they were a jock. And I was like, you can fuck off.
I've got my one jock. He's my favorite.
I hate my jocks. I've been systematically murdering all the
jocks.
No,
I like my jock.
I'm keeping one because he was my original. But I had my two first ones were both jocks. It's like, what? Everyone in this game just talks about working out all the time. It's like, I'm done. I got my cool wrestling duck.
I've got my wrestling panda.
Yeah.
I've got my food ram. She's dresses up like a hot dog.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
I've got Mariana or whatever, which apparently everybody wants to fuck her.
Oh, okay.
She's a squid lady, and she's so there's tiers. There's ranked tiers of the characters.
Oh, really?
And apparently, if I wanted, I could get because people. I don't know how, but you can trade them.
How?
I don't know. It's a dark black market. And apparently I could get 20 million bells for her.
Jesus. What's the conversion rate? Dollars to bells at the moment? I don't know.
That's a dark file I haven't got to at all. At least this is still all in-game, James. I haven't got to real money.
I'm sure there's an exchange rate.
Oh, there definitely is. I'll get some sort of favor. One kill for this singing squid lady. I guess she's an octopus. Yeah, I've started moving things around. I said we weren't going to talk about Animal Crossing.
No, but let's. So
it's addictive.
So I've got my last house upgrade in there now. So I've got my basement.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got my last thing. I got to pay off the house, and then that part's done. Then
you don't have to pay off.
I know, but I have to. I got to pay off my mortgage.
Why?
Because
you don't get shit for it.
I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to get the stand.
2.5 million bells.
I'm going to get myself some Nook miles.
Oh, good. I've got 90,000.
I have so many Nook miles. And then after that, I'm going to start kind of doing up my town a bit, but nowhere near to the level that I know Cheryl's going to go to now.
No.
She has been exposed to the extents that some people go to. So she started getting tile sets. So she has a faux perspective deck in front of her house now, and she's got a custom pathing, and she's getting into this.
But the hardest shit with that is once you get deep, you've got to do management of the tiles because there's a limited amount of tiles you can put in. So it's oh, you've invested in two pathway tile sets. Risky. And how are all my villagers going to wear my slut t-shirt if I put it all on tiles?
You see more slut tiles.
I should do that. More Naked Lunch references just thrown around my island is what we really need. I've started invested heavily in models of centipedes. Let's flick. I've got 3 centipedes for you again. Here you go. Oh, centipedes again, is it? Yes. Another centipede statue, thank you. Man, I love how gibberish this is to anyone not playing the game.
It is a fantastic game.
It's so stupid. Why do I care about any of these things? Why do I go to someone else's island to go see the fucking art charlatan to get another piece of genuine art?
I still have never I've never been visited by the art guy.
That's weird.
Yeah, haven't had him.
Because he should have just turned up immediately after the patch.
So
and then you have a conversation with him, and then he buys the boat.
So here's what I think happened. Because he shows up at the secret beach, doesn't he?
Not initially.
Wow, okay, where does he show up?
Just randomly around the island.
No,
and then you chat to him, and then he buys the boat.
Yeah, no, never seen him.
Yeah, because he'll just give you a piece of art first.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, cousin.
No.
Hey, Nico. Cousin, let's go bowling. I got some art for you.
Whenever I go, what's the name of the...
Michelangelo's David.
What's the name of the owl?
Celeste?
No, the brother. The main owl.
Yeah, Celeste, isn't it? Oh, no,
Celeste
is
the sister.
No, fucking B... What's his...
Blathers, yeah.
Blathers.
And I always talk to Blathers. He's sort of like saying, oh, looking forward to some art. Like, give me fucking art!
Very passive-aggressive.
Yeah.
Looking forward to some art,
Yeah, I love
James.
giving him bugs. He hates bugs so much.
So Blathers the owl who runs the museum.
I love that we've been stuck on Animal Crossing
You can give him fossils, bugs, and fish, but he hates bugs.
He hates bugs.
And so when you give him something, he'll offer you a description. It's like, oh, it's so terrible, this bug. Oh, well, I guess I could tell you something about it if you want to know. I always say, no, don't bother about it. Buddy.
No, I always say yes.
I was like, no, man, I can see you're uncomfortable. I don't need to know about this cricket. It's fine. What a stupid game.
Like, I keep playing it.
Oh, I'm rearranging my town now.
Yeah.
I'm like actually going to try and structure things. I said I wasn't going to. I was going to just let it be all natural, and now I'm like, nah.
No, you're gonna, yeah.
I gotta start doing a deep dive in here and terraform and everything.
I remember when Cheryl figured out about the plant breeds.
Oh yeah. The genes and
like
the
genes,
flowers.
and they use real plant science for figuring out how to get rare colors and things.
Yeah, what I do is I throw them all on a mountain and just let nature take.
Yeah, that's what I do as well. I just have here's my hatch pattern for white roses. I'm gonna get what I need out of it eventually.
I mean, I'll never get what I need. I just want chaos. That's all.
I want my blue roses. Yeah. They're pretty hard to get.
I mean, if you just use the guide, you'll do it fine. So what you need, James?
Yes.
So you lay out your pattern to start doing it. Then each day invite 5 friends over.
Well, because if the friends come over and they water your plants,
5 friends,
because it vastly increases the
almost
propagation
100%
rate.
if it's 5 friends.
It's only 5% if you do it yourself. It's very low.
Yes. So that sounds like a good use of our time. I have a newborn.
You do. He's tiny.
He's very
tiny
small.
little thing.
It's the first time you saw him tonight.
Yeah.
Got COVID all over him.
Yeah, I know. Just getting COVID everywhere. That's right. Babies are fine with COVID.
Yeah. But he was born with respiratory issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not going to risk it.
Yeah.
He's nah. Kids are all right. Okay, so what we were talking about? We were talking about Sunless Seas. We got distracted.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. It is a...
It's a good port.
Yeah, because I never played it on PC. I was always sort of waiting for it to be sort of finished, and then it got finished, and I'm like, I'll play it eventually one day. And then when it's on Switch, I'm like, that's great. I love playing on the Switch. I'll put some good time into this. And then there's Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
It keeps being there.
I
just call it the Animal Crossing machine. I might buy a second Switch so I can play Nintendo games. And this is just
your Animal Crossing thing.
This is as far as after I started playing Animal Crossing, I started going, Nintendo needs to make a new console. Animal Crossing is built in, and there's just a button for it. It's just because the new consoles are talking about having multiple suspend states. That's what I need. I just need to be going I just need to do a couple of jobs in Animal Crossing, and then I'm gonna go back to the other stuff. But the fact that if I want to play another game, I gotta close it down.
It takes a while to load up Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing was just there all the time. I could just play Animal Crossing. I could go and check out is there a bug here. I get the bugs, and then there's some fossils.
What they need to do?
Hey, that fin! It's got a fin. Maybe it's a shark. I could get
Oh no, it's a sucker
bass.
fish.
Oh no.
Yeah, what they could do for the next Switch is. There was a good Twitter story about that.
Yeah, I saw it actually.
Yeah, where originally it was it's at least a C- or something like that was the joke.
Yeah, because every time you do something in Animal Crossing, you get the same line of text.
Yeah, and so if you got a C bass, and then it's no, but it's more of a C-, was a kind of, I guess the joke makes a little bit more sense because C bass sounds a little bit like C+, I guess. Anyway, they need to make it more. They need to make it more positive, so they
it was that everything in the line should have a positive edge to it. So even if it is a bit annoying,
a dumb joke,
it's it's happy.
Yeah,
we want a happy environment.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, what they need to do is they need to make Animal Crossing the new Street Pass quest, and it's just part of the Switch operating system.
I mean, really, what we need to do is a fully realistic Animal Crossing MMO, science based.
So it's like the mobile version.
What I wanted was to go get off the islands.
Yeah.
And everyone gets like a patch in like a English countryside, and you can bicycle to each other's
Oh
villages.
no! I want you to wake up.
Like I close my eyes and I wake up and I'm in Animal Crossing.
No. Other way. Like in Animal Crossing, your character wakes up,
Uh-huh.
and you're in basically the simulation, and it's more of like a Matrix situation.
Like why the world is full of talking animals.
Yeah. And like why it's so positive and happy and a good place to be. It's just to keep the consciousness going while you're being farmed.
It's a real happy feet situation.
Yeah. Oh, I got dark. It's amazing how much you can fix. You can make that movie better by just knocking off like 30 seconds of movie.
Yeah. No, you just add that little scene at the end.
Oh, you still.
His eyes are dilated in the. It's like,
In the
wow,
pen.
all these penguins singing with explosions. This is so wonderful. It's almost as if it's not. Oh wait, he's just.
Just want the Brazil ending.
He's gone.
Yeah.
Man, Brazil's such a good movie. Every film should have the Brazil ending. That's how Endgame should have finished. Captain America's just it's like lobotomized. I couldn't do it. Spoilers for Brazil. Okay. Other video games. So we're gonna have a quick VR corner.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You're never gonna talk about Assassin's Creed. No, I'll let you.
I've already spoken about it a little bit.
I guess. Yeah. He's playing Assassin's Creed. He's enjoying it. Okay. A VR corner. The only bit of news that remained, because all the other news had gone to other things. Vader Immortal is coming to PSVR now.
I wonder if they'll fix it.
No, I think the game just sucks.
I just like it to not crash.
I still need to actually just do like the combat modes of that, because that might be fun, but I did not like that story mode.
No, I even as someone went into like I got my new shiny quest and everything is great. Even then, like it kind of was actually like the original trilogy. You know, like what's the first one? The first like episode 1. And I was like,
Menace.
Yeah, I watched Phantom Menace. And I'm like, oh yeah, that was pretty good.
And we had brain damage for 6 months.
Yeah, and then after a while we kind of went, oh, actually, no, it wasn't so great. Because like the first episode, like,
no, it's really clever.
I was like, oh no, this is good. I like it. And then
it was smart the way they did all those things.
Yeah, it's a tax blockade. It's a trade blockade.
It's exciting and well made. And oh god, what have I done with my childhood? Anyway, I have played some other VR games, of which I know. So the open beta for Echo VR came out.
Oh, which I tried to play.
Yes, it was very interesting because I was very excited. Echo is a sports game. It's basically it's a disc football game where you've got an arena and you can both propel yourself with sort of jets in your hands, but also you can grab the environment and fling yourself around. It's done a lot of work in letting you navigate a 3D environment, and the sport is quite clean and basic.
It's frisbee.
The frisbee in the ring. Frisbee. Although I found the frisbee action I was terrible at aiming with. I just chucked it and it worked much better. And it's online multiplayer, so you get in chatting to people, and some of them are fine and some of them are 8. But the 8-year-old is holding onto your leg as you're flying around. It's like, fuck off. Get off me. And I was really, really enjoying it. I was like, James, everyone else in our quest group, you need to get it because we need to form a team so we can go and have team matches with people. And I said, James, how did you like it?
I didn't like it.
Oh,
no,
James.
no, one little bit.
James,
so
maybe you did it wrong, James.
Apart from being terrible, and like I know it requires coordination and skill.
Well, it was because you have to go through the tutorials,
and
at a certain point you've got to throw the disc through the goal.
And I was not good enough to complete the tutorial.
Yes,
I think it was about my.
Which is a very bad sign.
It was about my 30th throw of trying to get the disc through the hoop. I was feeling very nauseous and sick, and
I imagine also frustrated.
And I just went, nope, I'm out.
Did you try just chucking it?
Yeah, I tried different ways, I tried a bunch of stuff, and I just could not get the disc through the hole. So I quickly realized I was no good at it. But that's not a slight on the game. That's just me not being very good at it. The bigger problem I had was there's something about that kind of movement, which I think I have okay VR legs, but not for that.
It's funny because I historically have the worst VR legs.
Yeah, so I think it's
I think it's because
there's a lot of up and down movement, a lot of vertical movement, and that is a killer for me.
Weirdly, if I'm controlling it by grabbing something,
no, it's still
I'm okay with that.
Because I had the same problem with the ISS simulator. Because it had very similar controls of grabbing the environment and kind of moving around. And the moment that I move myself, I start getting it because it's like, like I just don't like it. Half-Life, Alex,
didn't you just teleport the ladders?
I close my eyes a lot. So if I was at a stair, like, and I did, I did want to walk up, or if I was going to jump down.
But the ladders are the thing where you grab each rung. And you
ladders, I was teleport.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
I didn't climb a single ladder.
Yeah. That was my favorite part.
Yeah, I didn't. So I
ladder man.
I have a lot of problem with vertical movement and so yeah, this game was just like, no, like I wasn't good at it. It made me feel sick. It's like nah.
Weirdly, because I get motion sick in all sorts of games, being frustrated makes me more motion sick. Like if I'm like in a Source game, because a lot of Source games make me vomit. If I'm stuck, I'll get nauseous.
I guess it does kind of make sense that if I'm enjoying something, I'm more likely to push through it. And so for something, where I'm not having fun, it's like, well, I don't have this extra thing to kind of make me.
Maybe you could just be the goalie, block the goal with your big fat head.
I'm good at getting in the way of things.
Cool. Yeah, but Echo VR, it's an open beta. It's on
Yeah.
PlayStation. I mean, it already exists on other platforms. But yes, I thought that's cool. But I played a game on SideQuest, which is my favorite thing that I've done in VR for a long time, which I was very impressed by. It was a sort of a test that they did, because I don't think the company is traditionally a games company. And they said they'd done 3D telemetry scans of a old not a cathedral, some old church. I can't remember what the words are. Anyway, and they said, well, if we took this whole 3D scan of this real area and we put it into chunks and then we called it a puzzle. And fuck, I loved it. Grabbing, there's a bit of a castle wall here, and so basically all they do is they have some photos around, so aerial photos of the area, so you can sort of reference it, and then it's just broken into 90 chunks or so. It's like, okay, well here, there's a tunnel in this part of the cliff, so and you lift and you bring it up and you can look through the tunnel and like it's all filled out with the insides of it. It's like playing with a model that's also tangible. You move it around and it just snaps into place when you get it close to each other. I know this isn't even a game yet. This is just like an experiment, but
satisfying,
so
something
good.
there.
And as I was talking to Michael, so easy to steal. This could work for it, because they're doing it with like real life areas and everything. It's like you could just take a scene from a video game, or my suggestion, you go to my example is 3D Project CD Project Red, but anyone got to mix them up with 3D Realms for a second. What a combo that would be! It's like you go, so you just want a promo piece for Cyberpunk? Give us just the base Maya file, or whatever it is for that original like Cyberpunk with like the knives lady, that picture that they just sort of moved around, just like make it a puzzle. Like chunk it up and just like put it back together, move it around in 3D. Everything looks amazing moving into 3D. I'm like, it's like, just make puzzles to promote things. Stick them on. It's like low overhead.
I can see there's like just a Zen game there.
Oh, it was so relaxing. I really enjoyed it, because you're also just moving around the space because it's all physically represented. So it's like, I'll just go grab that piece and I'll put all the pieces over here, up in the sky over here, because I know they're all walls.
So Cheryl's mum now has figured out how to use the Quest.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So because
what's she playing?
She's been playing Beat Saber. And so
is she the person been beating all your $100 bills scores?
Yes. It's been.
Well, then you know what? I'm glad that, because I saw that it was like, oh, Jesus got a new high score on $100 bills. I'm like, should I load it up and just like smash his fucking scores?
So the way I play Beat Saber is I just got to set up custom songs now. Got that figured out. But the custom songs are generally too hard for someone who's not familiar with the game.
Oh yeah. But like what they call normal is like expert in the game.
Yeah. So Cheryl's mum has just been playing the standard game, like built-in ones. But it's been now, she's probably used it like 3 or 4 times, and I'm just wondering, like, is it going to progress to more stuff? Because I've told her, it's like, there's other games on there. There's like a coloring in game you can play. There's like, other things that you can do.
Color space.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff.
There's all those hentai games.
Yeah, she might be into them.
VR chat.
Yeah.
Oh, I already said hentai games. Sorry.
But I'm interested to see if, like a 60-year-old Chinese Malaysian lady eventually starts like playing it a lot.
Well, pre-COVID, I was just about to take it to my grandmother in a nursing home because I think she'd get some of just the ones where you sit in nature and shit.
Yeah. I just took it to my mum's place for Mother's Day for the first time, and Mum had a go at it. And it's one of the best things about VR is giving it to someone, particularly someone a bit older, that isn't familiar with the concept at all, and just seeing their mind being blown by what it is. Like Mum did nothing but play with the First Contact demo.
Oh yeah.
And she's like talking to it, saying, "Come here, buddy. It's just it's something kind of magical about that first experience."
Then they punch a window and the hand gets all cut up.
Yeah. Luckily, Mum's place is pretty big, so like I'm kind of like, yeah, just stay, there. You're okay.
I told you about the Guardian. Yeah. Oh Jesus. At least my grandparents are mostly immobile.
But on VR,
yes,
also got Tetris Effect.
Yes,
because it came out just rather suddenly the other day, and I picked it up, and I both like it and don't like it. I like it for the fact that it is Tetris, and it does a very good job at being Tetris in Tetris Effect, where you're in the Tetris world and
with all the best of world music,
all the
techno track.
We could have ends up being like a custom song.
No, no, you have to listen to the world music.
Tetris. What has kind of disappointed me a bit is the graphical fidelity of it, like just what it looks like.
It's taken quite a hit from.
It's taken it, and I'm used to Quest being a downgrade because you're running on mobile hardware, but there's not a lot going on with Tetris. There's particle effects and some Tetris blocks in a black environment, and then even when your menus are like a little hard to read. They're so low resolution.
Yeah, it feels like you could really prioritize.
Yeah, and like you can see, like they've got like the nodes when you're selecting your levels, but you can tell they're running at like half res because the textures just look shit. And like when you're in the game, it's fine. Like the game, it's lower res, but it still looks nice, and you got all the pretty colors and the sounds, and like not having a D-pad is a bit of a pain. Like the analog stick doesn't work as well for Tetris, but it's okay. Like it does the job. But yeah, it's really just the visual hit. Like I don't see why it's there. Like the Quest is not a PlayStation 4, but I've seen much better looking games.
There's plenty of impressive looking things.
Yeah, like things that look better, but are doing a lot more.
What I want
and running fine
in VR Tetris, if you have Quest controllers, is I want to look up and a 1,000-foot tall Tetris board in front of me, and then I just thrust my hand to the sky, and I go and I just like telekinetic like over here, square block, and down, and I smash
rotate
it to the
your
ground.
hand to spin it. And,
yes. Like
you want to be able to grab two pieces at once and just
exactly.
Sort of
I want to command worlds. That'd be fun.
That would actually be pretty good.
Let's do it.
You could use the hand tracking to...
Yeah, you don't have to license Tetris or anything. It's free.
It's a bit disappointing. I mean, it's good because Tetris Effect is a good game. But
I played a flight sim, a space flight combat game called End Space.
Oh, how is that?
So I think you would find it very interesting to play.
Because I've almost bought it a few times.
Yes, because I had a few games because Quest was doing like daily sales. Yeah. Most of them were like, you can get 3% off. Like, fuck off. And every once in a while it was a decent deal. But yeah, so this one, controlling the ship by default, and you can switch it around, but I quickly discovered I really like the default. You control by pointing your head.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And the virtual, sort of the hand that you're moving changes your aim.
Okay, yeah.
So, being able to track and chase ships, I have never in any flight sim been able to do it so quickly and accurately. Because I wasn't my shitty joystick hand. I was like, no, I just look at the thing that I want to shoot and I am shooting it, but I can still, like, if I need to fire off to the side or anything, it's easy to do. No, you go like, okay, a space combat game. that kind of sucks because your head is always stuck at the main view. You just hold a button and it unlocks it.
And you can look around like
and you can look around the free look. I'm like, and I wasn't getting nauseous, and I was doing like really wild acrobatics like instantly. I'm like,
so
whilst this whilst it was like the wrong way around, because I switched it sort of at first. I said like, no, I'll control the ship with pointing, and I'll turn my head to aim. Like that was it. It's like nah. Other way around. It felt so fun.
So one of the things I wasn't sure about with that game is what the mission structure is going to be.
It's pretty basic.
Is it just like play through a series of missions?
Yeah. No, there's nothing special about it. It's very low point of entry. To it. I mean, and I think it's sort of like semi like abandoned. It's like it works, and we're going to add more.
Because I think else. Like I'm normally a bit turned off by just linear like series of missions. Yeah. Because part of what I like in space is the going out and the traveling from place to place and finding adventures.
Time for X-Wing VR.
Is it?
It could be. I don't know, but that would probably be a linear series.
That would probably I'll probably play that one. But yeah, like
you just want Elite on the quest.
I just want Elite Dangerous is so good. There's no way that thing's ever going to run on the quest.
What if they just make it look like Elite?
Oh, then yes, it'll probably run on the quest pretty well. Yeah. Oh, actually be alright.
Yeah. Actually, no one's really played with that aesthetic.
No, actually going for like that old vector graphics.
Yeah. Okay. Before we wrap up, we got. Look, we have a little section here about the TV and movie corner, and like I just need to say two things.
Yeah.
Killing Eve is the best trash on television.
What is Killing Eve?
Killing Eve is Sandra Oh, and I don't know the other actress's name. Basically, she's a cop, and the other one's a serial killer, and it is just the most like ludicrous, like everyone's a double agent, and it's like anyone, and like they can viciously kill each other at any point. It's just like it's the most ridiculous trash, but it's so fun. Yeah, I just like watch episodes giddy, like it's so stupid. But it's not. Yeah. I'm not laughing at it. It is deliberately a fun show. And then the other one, my other fun show has been watching Great British Model Railways.
I saw you watching the show about flower arrangement before.
That was pretty good.
That got me pretty excited.
So Great British Model Railways is amazing for a few reasons.
Yeah.
One, that all the contestants are exactly the person you imagine they are.
It's 50?
So it's all different groups. So like the second episode especially had it was like the railway building ninjas they called themselves. Then it was like the hardcore military obsessed group. Yeah. And then the Doctor Who obsessed group. Like, of course, this is where we go, and they're not great, which is what I love. Yeah. It's like they're real, just amateur model builders. Yeah. They come with, even the ones that are like pro are still pretty amateur. It's not like that flower show you were seeing. Like, the shit that was incredible. That was really impressive. No. This is like, I could probably do that.
Yeah.
But halfway through each episode, comes up, they've got this competition for viewers. Like, you could win a trip to the Lakes District. And it's like it's shot, like it's a relatively modern show, but it's like a shot on 90s VHS with like word art, like flipping in, and it's like with $100 spending money and all the trains you can eat. It's so low stakes and so quaint and kind. It's like everyone's just like. It's just so minor. I love it.
Well, that's one of the reasons I love Lego Masters.
See, I think there's too much drama.
No, there's very little drama in there.
You haven't seen like an old man his special effect is just like dropping something onto the they do explosions and shit in that show. They've got music. No. It's all slick.
There's something very, very wholesome about Lego Masters.
Where's the word art?
There's no word art though. But they make some very nice Lego.
They do.
They do some pretty cool stuff.
I'd like to just re-edit it to have everyone be a little bit more quiet. I like ducks, so I need a duck.
Very nice duck.
Very nice duck. Very nice. But otherwise, other than show, was there anything you wanted to mention in the TV and movie?
Oh, so I've been watching, because I'm still going with my Spanish learning.
Yeah.
I'm almost up to a year now. Getting close.
How long?
Almost a year.
How long, James?
Un año.
I hope that was right.
Well, I couldn't, because time is a bit funny with its gender. So it might be una año, even though it's got an O at the end. I can never quite remember. I think it might be una año.
I like a hot lady time. Thank you.
There'd be mujer guapa tiempo.
Please correct James.
Please do. Anyway, so one of the things I've been doing is trying to watch more television, because what's the hardest thing about Spanish I find, because it's it's easy to spell in that language because it's just phonetic. Like, it's not like English, which is dumb.
English is the stupidest language.
In Spanish, really, if you can say the word, you can spell it.
Oh,
it's
that's
pretty.
lovely.
It's pretty good.
What a quaint idea.
I'm starting to get better at grammar structures. I finally had a bit of a piece of the puzzle fit with reflexive verbs the other day. So I was like, okay, I'm starting to get bits. The bit that I'm fucking terrible at is listening. Because there's many nice and easy things about Spanish. The spoken word is not one of them, because it's very fast and everything's slurred. So it's very hard to follow. So I've been trying to listen to more. So there was a show I found on Netflix. It's Diablero. If I hope I got the pronunciation right.
Diablero,
but it's
more Aussie.
Diablero. Diablero. I've been practicing my R's.
It's like we're bouncing up. I'm absorbing your ockness. Okay.
Been trying to get better at my R's. The little tap R, which is like the Diablero, like the little tap. I'm getting okay at, but the rolling I still can't do. I can't say Pedro. I got a little bit of a trill, but not enough.
You literally did just say the word.
I can't hold the trill. I can just make a little bit of a trill sound. Anyway, so I've been watching the show, and it is Mexican supernatural. That's 100% the pitch, to the point where the main character gets like a car like Dean's. Like, it's about like demons that are possessing people. They come out of people's mouths. Like, it's got a lot of stuff they've clearly just taken from Supernatural, but it's in Mexico.
But what's the production value like?
About Supernatural.
Oh, damn.
It's actually pretty good. I mean, as good as Supernatural is.
Supernatural's fine. That's a problem.
Yeah. But it's like it's
what crepe paper being thrown out of people's mouths.
It's actually pretty good.
Boo! They're virgining.
And even though, because I watched this thing with Spanish subtitles, like, I have no. Because one of the things that I've learned about language learning is that a lot of it's about comprehensible input. Like, you just want to try. It's like you can't just like doing grammar drills isn't. It's useful, but what you really want is like there's lots of stuff that going into your head where you understand the context of what's going on and the words get kind of hooked up in your brain. So I understand about 30% of what's going on in the show, and even only understanding about 30%, I quite like it. It's on Netflix. There's 2 seasons of it out. It's if you want, if you like Supernatural, there's a good chance that you'd like something like this. It's not as boy drama as something like Supernatural, which is a lot of what Supernatural is.
Exactly. That's like 80% of
Supernatural. But if you like the Monster of the Week story kind of stuff, it's pretty good. It's got some good characters in it.
Okay. Sounds good. Do you want to talk about Assassin's Creed Odyssey?
Oh, look, I won't really say much, because
you like it.
The only reason I started playing it is because it was dirt cheap, moderately cheap on Steam. Or Uplay. I bought it on something cheap anyway. It got cheaper. Uplay.
Where did this come from?
Uplay. Uplay. I don't know.
Uplay?
Uplay. I wanted to be
fudge. Uplay?
The Uplay. I picked it up anyway. And I always thought that I would like this game because I liked Origins. But I didn't. I kind of fell off with Origins. Where Odyssey has changed things just enough. They've added just enough BioWare RPG into that game.
That's my favorite kind of RPG.
Like just like oh yeah, there's a conversation tree. There are repercussions. My decisions do trigger little different things down the road. But just enough, not too much.
Was my sarcasm enough there?
No, it wasn't. I was a little bit genuine.
Shit. Okay. That's my favorite kind of RPG.
There we go. And so now,
which is great because everyone else is that's genuine for, and I'm a fucking freak.
Yeah, I have put about 60 hours into it. Yeah. And I'm like been
barely have you full orchard in Animal Crossing at that point.
Yeah. And I've been having an amazing time with it. I've gone with this one. I've just basically given up on the whole stealth thing, and gone. I'm just going to go pure warrior. I've invested in that. I'm going
Spartan.
because I like the combat. The combat feels good. Spartan kicking never gets old. There's a good parry system in there. It is level based, but I found up until about 10 levels above you, now this is with a cap of 50, if you're good, you'll take them down. Like, you do just enough damage where if you can, you can survive a hit or two, and you can parry and dodge a lot of it, you'll get them. So like it's like, yeah, it's level based, but
bet I could mod it out.
But I think you put it on easy, and I think it basically pulls all that stuff down. But yeah, really enjoying it. The item system, like you're saying before, but like your purples and stuff like that, it's not actually that relevant. I constantly going back to wearing like greys and things. It's like it's whatever, like whatever's got the biggest number. What you do is you unlock augments. So like, for example, like I like doing a lot of melee combat. So one of the things I can get is extra damage from like, it's like
not 40 big on those ancient Greek guns.
No, like 40% extra damage from behind. Like it's a massive damage bonus, and I can just put that on whatever weapon I want. So then I can, like, if I can then parry, then I can kind of go around the back and do a lot of damage. So it's just like I can tweak the games, I can tweak the items that I get to like the play style that I want. So yeah, like, I don't know, it feels like you can play it how you want. Like,
and what's the modern day stuff like?
I've been out of the machine once, and then I got back in, and I just don't care. One of the things I think is kind of cool is like they didn't want to have an excuse for having like Greek monsters in it, right? Like it's got like mythological shit in it, but it's meant to be.
Oh, I have looked up some of the story of this game, and I'm very excited by some of the story beats they choose.
So like, I love that like they found excuses to like just get in like just Greek mythic monsters. So it's like, it's almost like they've had to merge like the stuff they know with like this unreliable text.
So one of the things, so you
also
you imagine you got like 20 hours left on it, but do you have the DLC?
Yes, I do.
Oh, so have you engaged with the DLC?
Oh,
stuff?
no, not yet.
Good, do it.
Yeah. Oh no, I've heard it's really good.
Yeah.
So
it makes no sense. It's so good.
Yeah.
So good.
So what I found that I started really liking the game was when it just got to the cultist assassination part.
Yes. Yeah. I hear good things.
Yeah,
about that.
because that's like you play through like the first island, the first 10 hours or so, or something like that, and then it's like you go, oh, there's a cult, and you got to slowly disassemble this cult. And you do that by actually having to investigate. Like, it'll give you a hint of how you find the person. It won't just say, go here and do this. It'll be like, oh, someone in this region may know something about it.
A real Outer Wilds experience.
Yeah, so you're like, oh, okay, I'll go over here, and you start doing stuff. Or the father of this person might know something. And it's generally kind of obvious where you need to go. But there's just enough like, oh, okay, I think that's over here. And then you'll get a quest where it's like, they won't give you a quest marker. They'll just say, oh, it's to the north of this. It might be somewhere. They'll give you like 3 points. And it's like, okay, I can open up the map and it'll be fast. I'll figure out like, okay, this is where I need to go. But it doesn't, there's a little bit of involvement in actually being someone who's hunting people down. And that
Which is
I found
actually maybe the first time we get actual assassinating.
Like it feels like I am assassinating through a bunch of people. And it's like, oh, okay, I feel like an assassin. And the game has one of my most favorite bits of UX design I've seen in any game. And I kind of wish that I managed to get a screenshot of it before I bypassed it.
Lay it on me, buddy.
So you start the game.
What are you so far?
Okay. And it says, how do you want to play? Do you want guided mode or exploration mode? Guided mode is selected by default. So the only way to see the exploration mode is, oh, what's that? And go down to it. And if you select it, they say, this mode, we won't tell you exactly where to go. This is how we expect the game to be played. So it's my favorite bit of UX design, because if you are the kind of person who does not give a shit and just wants to be held through the whole thing, you're just mashing that button and you go through. If you're the kind of person who's a little, but what's this exploration mode?
What if I want exploration, but I like not reading dialogue and text? I might miss it. I mash a fucking A button more than anyone.
But play a different game. Well, actually, you can skip the dialogue. You don't have to pay that much attention to.
Okay.
Because once you finish a quest, when you're talking to someone, generally there'll be a question period where it'll say you can ask me what's going on.
It's just this UX change. I won't accidentally skip past it.
Oh, if you're mashing, you might.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah. If you are the kind of person who just wants to get to it, it'll get you. I thought that's one of my favorite little bits of UX design. It's really clever. I've been loving the game. I thought I'd enjoy it. I did not think I'd like it as much as I do. And I think, on Epic, the sale's probably still going when this goes out. Yeah. You can buy the base game for $15 Australian.
Yeah.
And I 100% recommend it because just go in knowing that for you to finish that game, I expect I'm going to be 80 hours by the end of it to finish it.
You could have done so many things on your island by then.
I could have. Actually, I think a lot in terms of could have learned a lot of Spanish in that time.
Oh, no. Why don't you play the game in Spanish?
Because I still want to know what's going on. I don't know enough. I was playing an adventure game in Spanish, which was pretty good.
Oh, speaking of adventure games, you say your thing.
Oh yeah, it was just it was playing it with English voices but with Spanish text. And so whenever I knew what was going on, but every now and then I had to choose what my character had to say. So I'd have to try and read what are the response, what is the thing that I'm actually talking about. That was alright for learning.
The adventure game news was that there was Ron Gilbert released a new adventure game. Dolores' story or tale or something. I can't remember what the full title is. It's just a spin-off of Thimbleweed Park. They basically were working with a new engine and trying out some stuff, so they made a little game. You can just go get it for free on the internet, where games are true.
Oh.
Okay. Woo. Okay. Does that bring us to an end?
Yeah, I'm done.
Cool. Okay. Well, thank you for watching and listening to 8.5bit. I haven't done this in a long time. 8.5bit. You can catch our website, 8.5bit.com, and Twitter and Facebook. Please like and share anything like that. Join our Discord, discord.8.5bit.com. If you want to chat bullshit,
Yeah.
There's a whole area for Animal Crossing.
So if you want to come and post your bells, and
we separated it from everything else to not annoy people.
Yes, yeah, because it's basically turn-up prices.
Yeah, mine are going not good this week.
I know.
But that means I might get a big spike.
I know. I've put $500,000 into turnips this week.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Is how many trips of turnips is that?
Oh, that's 2 because I got them for a good price.
Yeah. He's foolish.
Mm.
What if you accidentally time travel back and you lose them all?
I'm not going to time travel.
You will if I grab your Switch.
No.
What happened?
Does it ruin turnips if you time travel?
If you time travel backwards, it instantly rots all of them.
Really?
Yeah. You can time travel forwards.
Okay.
Yeah. I've never time traveled.
Animal Crossing.
Okay. Yeah. See you all later, folks. Hopefully this will be more regular again.
Thanks, everyone.